Chapter 53-51. That cultivator didn't know that such a terrifying thing would happen, so after his head was cut off, he didn't die immediately. Instead, he lowered his head and looked down. He saw his body falling into the lake. Only then did he realize. It turned out that his head had already been separated from his body. He let out an incomparably terrified scream. After the scream, his life was over. His head also fell into the lake. Lin Feng didn't know what kind of creature attacked him, but he was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat, because the dead cultivator was too close to him. If the target of that terrifying existence's attack just now was him, the consequences, it was simply unimaginable. What the hell is that thing? What the hell is that thing? Someone shouted in fear. The unknown was the most terrifying, because no one saw anything. So, now, everyone was incomparably terrified. They didn't know what was hidden in the dark. Suddenly, Lin Feng's blood quickly flowed out. The aura of death. It enveloped his body. Lin Feng's heart trembled. He knew that he had been targeted by that terrifying existence. Or else, he wouldn't have this kind of feeling. The death of that cultivator from before was still vivid in his mind. So, when Lin Feng's sudden inspiration ability was activated, Lin Feng instantly used the heaven patching technique. He disappeared from where he stood. Lin Feng appeared 200 meters away before that terrifying feeling disappeared. "Come here quickly," Lin Feng shouted in a deep voice. He put away the bell of hell. The others quickly flew towards Lin Feng. They had no other choice now, so they couldn't help but listen to Lin Feng's orders. Pooh! Another cultivator's head flew into the sky. The second cultivator died tragically. "I don't want to die," someone shouted in fear. Many people were scared out of their wits. If they could live, no one wanted to die. But the key was, what was the existence in the darkness? They couldn't even find its whereabouts. This was the most terrifying part. Lin Feng's body emitted a mass of demonic qi. The demonic qi covered his body. In the demonic qi, Lin Feng opened his eye of origin, heavenly demon snake eye. Lin Feng looked around with his eye of origin. He saw a mysterious black shadow. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. Although he still couldn't see what it was, he could finally see that guy. That beast was extremely fast. It circled behind Lin Feng and the others, wanting to attack them. Lin Feng guessed. This kind of thing belonged to one of the unknown creatures when the darkness fall. Of course, these unknown creatures were weak and strong. The methods they were good at were also different. The unknown creature in front of him. It should be an unknown creature that was better at concealment and assassination. If it wasn't for Lin Feng's eye of origin, he wouldn't have been able to discover this guy at all. This was because this unknown creature could avoid the detection of spiritual will. This was extremely frightening. Cultivators mainly relied on spiritual will to sense things that couldn't be seen. Once spiritual will lost its effect, one could imagine what kind of terrifying situation would happen next. Lin Feng hurriedly took out his 36 bamboo swords. This unknown creature's aura was sinister and terrifying. It belonged to a dark attribute creature. Lin Feng's 36 bamboo swords were supreme treasures of extreme yang. They were the most effective against those evil ghosts. Although the restraint against these dark attribute creatures wasn't as strong as the restraint against those evil ghosts. But this was only relatively speaking. The 36 bamboo swords were also very effective against these dark attribute creatures. F***CK. He took out a new magic treasure. After seeing Lin Feng take out a new magic treasure, someone immediately cried out. Lin Feng's magic treasure. It was really endless. This caused everyone to be extremely shocked. But then everyone became excited. Lin Feng took out a new magic treasure at this time. Did he already find a way to deal with that unknown existence? Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this moment, everyone saw Lin Feng take out his 36 bamboo swords and fly out. The 36 bamboo swords flew quickly in the air. They seemed to be attacking something. Puff. Suddenly, a tearing sound was heard. One of the bamboo swords tore through the body of the unknown existence. Blood spurted out. The bamboo sword was stained with blood. Screech. The unknown existence let out a sharp and ear-piercing cry. Lin Feng's sword just now had injured the unknown existence. The unknown existence looked at Lin Feng with eyes full of killing intent. It tried to get close to Lin Feng and then attack Lin Feng. However, after many attempts, none of them were able to get close to Lin Feng, because Lin Feng could see it. So Lin Feng was able to use the bamboo swords to continuously attack it. At the beginning, the unknown existence obviously didn't know about this matter. It thought that Lin Feng had accidentally injured it. After many failures, the unknown existence also guessed that Lin Feng could see it. The unknown existence let out a series of deep roars. It was now extremely angry and aggrieved. At this time, Lin Feng took the initiative to attack the unknown existence, because they couldn't stay here for too long. Otherwise, when other terrifying creatures appeared, it would be extremely dangerous. They had to end the battle quickly. Lin Feng's 36 bamboo swords displayed a terrifying power. After the unknown terrifying existence was attacked by Lin Feng's 36 bamboo swords, many deep wounds appeared on its body. In the end, the unknown existence fled into the distance. Meeting Lin Feng was also this guy's bad luck. Let's go quickly. Lin Feng withdrew his Eye of Origin and then said in a deep voice. He took the lead and flew into the distance. The rest of the people followed closely behind. However, no one spoke on the way. Everyone's mood was a little heavy. They returned to the shore without any problems. At this moment, many cultivators had already gathered on the shore. Some cultivators had escaped from the lake. Most of the cultivators were cultivators who didn't have time to enter the lake. Originally, those cultivators wanted to enter the lake during the day tomorrow to look for the heavenly lake nightheart grass. Who would have thought that such a big change would occur? Those cultivators were incomparably glad. If they had come a day earlier, they would have already entered the lake. In that case, they might have also died inside the lake. Lin Feng and the others wanted to find a place to rest, but at this moment, a group of cultivators quickly walked over. Those cultivators surrounded Lin Feng and the others. These people were none other than Zhou Ziqing. Hee, I didn't expect that we would meet here again. Do you still remember what I said? If I see you again, you definitely won't have a good ending. Now, I'll give you a chance to live. Break one of your arms, and I'll spare your dog life. Zhou Ziqing looked at Lin Feng contemptuously. This chapter ends. Chapter 53-52. Lin Feng naturally knew that there was a holy immortal behind Zhou Ziqing. But so what? As long as this guy dared to cause trouble for him, he would not be polite to him. Lin Feng was never someone who would not fight back after being bullied. Hong Yuer said, Zhou Ziqing, don't go too far. Zhou Ziqing sneered. He naturally did not care about Hong Yuer. Zhou Ziqing sneered and said, shut up. And it's best if you don't meddle in other people's business. Otherwise, do you believe that I won't capture you and sell you to a brothel? Previously, Zhou Ziqing did not make a move because he was afraid of the Holy Maiden. Now, Zhou Ziqing naturally did not fear the Holy Maiden. Right now, Zhou Ziqing was only thinking about how to deal with Lin Feng. Therefore, he did not take Hong Yuer's words to heart. Moreover, he was not just saying those words to threaten Hong Yuer. Zhou Ziqing was really capable of doing these things. You're shameless. Hong Yuer was so angry that her face turned ashen. Lin Feng patted Hong Yuer's shoulder and said, there's no need to be angry over such a slut. He's not worthy. After hearing Lin Feng scold Zhou Ziqing, Hong Yuer felt very relieved. However, after thinking about the difference in strength between the two sides, Hong Yuer could not help but become extremely worried. Zhou Ziqing's side had more than 20 people, and they were very strong. On their side, there were only 13 people left. If they really fought, they would definitely not be a match for Zhou Ziqing and the others. When Zhou Ziqing heard Lin Feng's words, his face immediately became extremely gloomy. He had originally thought that Lin Feng would be very afraid. However, Lin Feng was not only not afraid, he was actually insulting him here. How could Zhou Ziqing tolerate this? He immediately flew into a rage. The killing intent in his eyes became even stronger. Brat, you found the wrong person to show off to. Later, I won't kill you directly. I'll cut off your flesh piece by piece. Zhou Ziqing looked at Lin Feng with a cold gaze. Hong Yuer knew that this battle was unavoidable. She coldly said, F***ck your mother. Who's afraid of who? The worst that could happen was death. Let's see if we can skin you alive before we die. Hong Yu had never cursed before. This was the first time Lin Feng had heard Hong Yu swear. When a woman cursed, it gave people a very strange feeling. The most direct reaction to this feeling was that Lin Feng felt that the current Hong Yu seemed to be even more enchanting. That's right. What are you afraid of? Fight them to the death. If you die, 20 years later you'll be a hero again. Chu Yuan shouted. His life was saved by Lin Feng. Although he didn't say it out loud, he was very grateful to Lin Feng in his heart. Therefore, he was willing to risk his life to make a move. Hee, I'm going to chop off that bastard Zhou Ziqing's head. I've long since found him an eyesore. Another cultivator spoke up. This cultivator was tall and sturdy. His name was Dashin Yo, and he was a cultivator from the Demon Ox clan. His weapon was a giant axe. His mountain-like body coupled with such a powerful weapon gave off a very intimidating aura. The rest of the people also supported Lin Feng. This made Lin Feng feel a little gratified. It seemed that these people really wanted to do well. When the surrounding cultivators saw that a conflict had broken out, they had already surrounded them. The cultivators were pointing and whispering. They were all waiting for a good show to start. Zhou Ziqing sneered and ordered, "Reckless fools! Since you want to die, I can't fulfill your wish. Other than Hong Yu, and that brat, kill everyone else." Yes. The group of cultivators beside Zhou Ziqing hurriedly responded. Then, those people pounced towards Lin Feng and the others. All of them were filled with killing intent. Hong Yu and the others were about to fight with their lives. Lin Feng waved his hand and said, "There's no need for everyone to do anything. Against these guys, I'll just use some of the spiritual insects I've been raising." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng took out the swarm of desert god-killing insects. A large number of desert god-killing insects flew towards the 20 cultivators. It's the desert god-killing insects. Some of the cultivators who were watching from the sidelines recognized the swarm of insects that Lin Feng had taken out and immediately screamed in fear. Desert god-killing insects. A terrifying swarm of insects that made one's soul tremble. Of course, if one did not know about this kind of creature, they would not be afraid. However, those who knew, they were all scared to death. Desert god-killing insects? Are they very powerful? Someone asked. Of course they're powerful. This is a swarm of insects that can devour everything. You'll soon know how powerful these insects are. A cultivator who knew about the origin of the desert god-killing insects said. As soon as that cultivator finished speaking, the 20 cultivators were surrounded by the desert god-killing insects. There were simply too many desert god-killing insects. They blotted out the sky and covered the earth. There were countless of them. Creatures like insects were terrifying to begin with. Moreover, there were so many desert god-killing insects that blotted out the sky and covered the earth. Just looking at them was enough to make one's hair stand on end. No one even heard the screams. When the swarm of desert god-killing insects flew over, everyone saw. There were more than 20 skeletons lying on the ground. After seeing those skeletons, many people could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. The strength of those cultivators was extremely strong. They did not even have the strength to resist. They died just like that. Their deaths were really too tragic. Hong Yu's red lips were slightly open. That look was really quite alluring. As for the others, their eyes were also wide open. They simply could not believe what they were seeing. This little brother Lin. The swarm of insects that he had taken out was too awesome, wasn't it? He had actually killed more than 20 experts in such a short time. It was really shocking. At this moment, everyone was even more curious about Lin Feng's background. He was young, had a powerful cultivation, had many top-notch magic treasures, and even had such a powerful swarm of insects. He was definitely the young master of a top-notch force. You. Zhou Ziqing looked at Lin Feng in anger. Although Zhou Ziqing's cultivation was powerful, he was not confident in facing the swarm of insects. The swarm of insects did not attack Zhou Ziqing. Instead, they surrounded Zhou Ziqing. Zhou Ziqing said coldly, "I didn't expect you to have such a powerful swarm of insects. I'll admit defeat today." As soon as he finished speaking, Zhou Ziqing took out a jade talisman. The jade talisman exploded. Many desert god-killing insects were drowned by the destructive power of the jade talisman's explosion. Those desert god-killing insects died tragically. Then, Zhou Ziqing rushed outside. He wanted to seize this opportunity to escape. Lin Feng sneered. He took out the Hui Bao and the Sunshot Divine Arrow. Whoosh! The Sunshot Divine Arrow flew out and caught up with Zhou Ziqing in an instant. When Zhou Ziqing heard the sound of something tearing through the air, he turned around and saw the Sunshot Divine Arrow shooting towards him. His expression changed drastically. At this moment, it was too late to dodge. Accompanied by the sound of something being torn apart, Zhou Ziqing's body was instantly pierced through by the Sunshot Divine Arrow. End of chapter. Chapter 53:53. He's dead. That guy was actually shot to death. The guy who was killed seemed to be a peak golden immortal. That young man is definitely not simple. He brought out a powerful swarm of insects, and even his magic treasure is so powerful. How unimaginable. Hee, how could anyone who can enter the time-reversed world be simple? Moreover, there's a certain type of person you need to pay special attention to in the time-reversed world. They're very young cultivators. You need to be careful when you encounter them. It's best not to offend them so easily. Why? Think about it. If a young cultivator enters the time-reversed world, isn't that the same as committing suicide? But no one is stupid. Who would want to commit suicide? Since that's not the case, why would he dare to enter the time-reversed world? There are only two reasons. First, that young man is extremely confident in his own strength. Second, that young man came in with his seniors. Regardless of the situation, it's best not to provoke him. Of course, you might be able to pick up a soft persimmon, but what if you end up kicking an iron plate? Take that guy from before, for example. He brought a group of people with him, looking extremely pretentious. But what happened in the end? In the end, he still ended up dead and his Tao dissipated. Brother, your words have really enlightened me. Many people started discussing spiritedly. Lin Feng looked at Hong Yu and the others with the swarm of insects, the Hui Bao, and the Sunshot Divine Arrow. He said, "We can't stay here for long. Let's go." At that moment, Hong Yu, and the others came back to their senses. The crowd didn't stop either. They all followed Lin Feng. Hong Yu looked at Lin Feng and said, "You're so young, but you have so many tricks up your sleeve. Tell me honestly, which faction are you from?" Lin Feng said, "My background is too extraordinary. I'm afraid that I'll scare you if I tell you, so it's best if I don't tell you." Everyone naturally knew that Lin Feng was joking. They could also tell that Lin Feng didn't want to talk too much about his background. Hong Yu was a smart person, so she didn't ask any more questions. Hong Yu didn't ask any more questions. The rest of the people didn't even bother to ask. Now that Zhou Ziqing has been killed, if the expert behind him decides to act, we'll be in trouble. The divine beast said, "What are you afraid of? My big brother Feng's insect swarm can guarantee that the enemy won't be able to escape." Hong Yu thought about it. She also felt that Lin Feng's swarm of insects was truly terrifying. Therefore, such a formidable swarm of insects might really be able to deal with experts at the Saint Immortal Realm, so the worry in his heart eased up greatly. Everyone found a place to rest. Lin Feng set up a restriction, and then each of them found a place to sit cross-legged and recover. The night was not calm because the battle in the lake was still going on. Many cultivators were looking inside the lake to pay attention to the situation of the battle. More and more cultivators managed to escape. They brought out some news. It was said that the terrifying Quasi-King had set his eyes on a group of foreign creatures and had launched a frenzied attack on them. Speaking of which, it was strange. The Quasi-King didn't care about the other creatures at all. However, the Quasi-King only focused on dealing with the foreign creatures. This matter surprised everyone. Lin Feng only found out about this the next day. After receiving this news, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown and ponder. Before, Lin Feng saw that the Quasi-King level cultivator didn't attack the ordinary cultivators. Lin Feng thought that the Quasi-King disdained to deal with the ordinary cultivators. The Quasi-King's target was the top existences. However, the reality seemed to be different from what he had imagined. The Quasi-King didn't attack the top experts, but instead locked onto a group of foreign creatures. What did that foreign creature do to cause the quasi-king to be so angry and kill? This matter was destined to never be revealed. Many people were cursing the foreign creatures. This was because if those foreign creatures hadn't attracted the quasi-king, perhaps none of this would have happened, and so many people wouldn't have died so tragically. However, what was the use of cursing those foreign creatures? The dead couldn't be revived. Lin Feng was more interested in the whereabouts of those foreign creatures. He went to inquire about the news. Lin Feng really did find out some news about the foreign creatures. It was said that most of the foreign creatures had been killed by the quasi-king. However, there were still a few foreign creatures alive. The few foreign creatures that were alive were extremely terrifying, but they had all suffered extremely serious injuries in the battle with the quasi-king. Moreover, other than the quasi-king and his subordinates, there seemed to be some other cultivators from other forces who went to kill those foreign creatures, including the Holy Maiden. Someone saw the Holy Maiden fighting with a powerful foreign creature. Moreover, the Holy Maiden killed that foreign creature. After receiving this news, Lin Feng felt that the situation seemed to be much clearer. He felt that the key to this matter was those foreign creatures. However, Lin Feng wasn't interested in looking for those foreign creatures right now. Right now, he only wanted to find a quiet place to cultivate in seclusion. Lin Feng and the others set off and returned to the village. But Lin Feng had a feeling that something had happened in the Lake of 1,000 Beasts, and the Taodai was wreaking havoc everywhere. The village seemed to have become unsafe. The courtyard in the village was rented by Hong Yu. The rent was about to expire. Lin Feng did not plan to stay here, so he told Hong Yu not to renew the rent. Lin Feng planned to head to some towns, where it should be safer. Lin Feng asked Hong Yu where the nearest town was. Then, he told her his plan. Hong Yu, and the others were a little hesitant. Lin Feng knew. They were most likely worried about the immortal stones. The cost of going to the town was much higher than staying in the village. It was said that in some of the larger cities, the entrance fee would be 1,000 high-grade immortal stones per person. In addition, there were many other expenses, such as renting a house, eating, and so on. There were still 13 people in the team. The expenses would be great. Hong Yu's immortal stones would not last for long. They had to be careful in their calculations in order to survive. Lin Feng told Hong Yu and the others not to worry about the immortal stones. He had a lot of them here. Moreover, Lin Feng flaunted his wealth a little. He took out a river of high-grade immortal stones. That was a total of 100 million high-grade immortal stones. When had Hong Yu and the others seen so many high-grade immortal stones? After seeing those high-grade immortal stones, Hong Yu and the others almost fainted from fright. End of this chapter. Chapter 53-54. Hong Yu said, "Comparisons are odious. With a good background, you really don't lack anything." Lin Feng said, "This has nothing to do with my background. I got it all by myself. If everyone works hard, you can also become rich." Everyone laughed bitterly. How could it be easy to become rich like Lin Feng? However, they were all in a good mood. This was because Lin Feng would solve the problem of immortal stones for them. Before leaving, Lin Feng went to buy a batch of devil-repelling incense. The group quickly left. Their destination was the nearest city, Wangyang City. Xingyang City was not a particularly large city. However, this city, was extremely ancient. It was said that after several catastrophes, many large ancient cities had been destroyed. However, Wangyang City still stood tall between heaven and earth. 10 days later, Lin Feng's group arrived at Wangyang City. This place, people came and went. It was very lively. There were many people gathered outside. Many of them could not afford to enter the city, so they could only linger outside. Lin Feng paid 13,000 high-tier immortal stone men, then entered Wangyang City with Hong Yu and the others. Actually, Wangyang City was not small. It was about the same size as some of the medium-sized cities in the Undying Realm. It could hold about 50 million people. However, Wangyang City did not have that many people. The permanent residents and the floating population only amounted to about 10 million people. Of course, for an ancient city to have so many people was already an extremely large number. Wangyang City was different from the outside world. Lin Feng even saw many children here. Some cultivators actually did not leave after entering the time-reversed world. They would then start a family here, get married, have children, and start a family. This situation was very common. If you can buy a house in Wangyang City, you can become a permanent resident here. Permanent residents do not have to pay any fees when entering or leaving Wangyang City, Hong Yuer said. Lin Feng said, the houses in Wangyang City should be very expensive, right? Hong Yuer nodded and said, expensive, extremely expensive. Moreover, according to the location, size, decoration, and so on, the price varies greatly. However, even in the most remote areas, a house costs at least 10 million high-grade celestial stones. Chu Yuan said, I'm afraid you won't be able to buy it with 10 million, because the houses in those areas have already been sold out, and basically no one is willing to sell them. I heard someone talk about buying a house before, and that cultivator said that an elder in his family bought a house like this. When he bought it, it was worth 11 million, but now it's worth 17 million, said Lin Feng. In that case, real estate is a good way to make a living in the time reversal world. Chu Yuan replied, there really are some large factions that are speculating in real estate. Right now, housing prices are so high because of these large factions. Those damned bastards, I don't know why they're earning so much money. They don't understand the hardships of ordinary people at all. Chu Yuan's words resonated with everyone's thoughts. In the time-reversed world, it was really difficult to do anything without money. Lin Feng said, capital is cruel, and it comes with blood. That's especially true for the major powers in our world of cultivators. They only care about profits. Who would care about your life and death? That's right. The group could not help but nod. Lin Feng and the others planned to find a place to stay. With such a large group of people, they would naturally need to rent a house. A middle-aged man walked towards Lin Feng and the others, blocking their path. Lin Feng and the others were about to leave. The middle-aged man cupped his fists and said, everyone, you must have just arrived in Wangyang City, right? Lin Feng nodded and said, that's right. That's indeed the case. The middle-aged man said, I'm sure everyone is looking for a place to stay. There are two types of places to stay in Wangyang City. The first type is called inns. There are a lot of people in those places, and it's a place where good and bad people mix together. Therefore, these places are not necessarily suitable for living, and the prices are usually very high. The other type of place is called private residences. These places are very quiet, have elegant environments, and are much cheaper than inns. They're the most suitable places to stay. Lin Feng said, then you must be helping those who rent out residences to attract business. After being exposed by Lin Feng, the middle-aged man did not feel embarrassed. This was what he did for a living. He was a middleman. He helped people rent residences, and he took a commission. People like him were naturally very thick-skinned. The middle-aged man smiled and said, young master, you're very perceptive. This is what I do for a living. May I know if young master is interested? Lin Feng said, very well. Bring us to a quiet, clean, and elegant residence. If I'm satisfied, I'll definitely reward you handsomely. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the middle-aged man immediately looked happy. The middle-aged man said, young master, please come with me. Lin Feng nodded. Soon after, Lin Feng and the others followed the middle-aged man and left. Finally, they arrived in front of a residence. It was obvious that this residence was quite well built, and it gave off the feeling of a classical garden. Lin Feng and the others looked around and were very satisfied. Hong Yuer asked, a place like this must not be cheap, right? The middle-aged man said, 600,000 high-grade immortal stones per month. That's not considered expensive, right? What? 600,000 a month? That's 20,000 a day? Hong Yuer's beautiful eyes widened as she said that. The middle-aged man said, Fairy, this is a high-end residential area. The surrounding residences cost $1 million a month. This place is already very cheap. Hong Yuer said, you should just go and rob people. We can't afford to live here. Then, Hong Yuer pulled Lin Feng and was about to leave. When she turned her back to the middle-aged man, she winked at Lin Feng. Clearly, Hong Yuer wanted to haggle with the middle-aged man. He didn't care about this bit of immortal stones. However, it was clear that Hong Yu, who was used to calculating carefully, cared. Since that was the case, he would let Hong Yu haggle. As long as Hong Yu was happy, it was fine. Don't go. The price is negotiable. The middle-aged man hurriedly said. How much discount can you give us? Hong Yu asked. How about this? 500,000 high-grade immortal stones per month. The middle-aged man said. 100,000. Hong Yu said. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile wryly. Hong Yu really dared to haggle. If she was shameless enough to work as a salesperson in a large firm, she would definitely become an elite. Sogu's website. Chapter 53-55. The middle-aged man's mouth twitched as he said, Isn't this price a little too high? How about this? Let's each take a step back. 400,000 high-tier immortal stones a month. What do you think? I'll take a step back as well. 200,000 high-tier immortal stones. Hong Yu said. The middle-aged man smiled bitterly. I really can't do this. This is a losing business. Moreover, I'm just a middleman. I'm not the owner of this house. I really can't rent it to you at this price. Hong Yu said, It's precisely because you're just a middleman that you can't rent it to us at such a high price. If we can't afford it, you won't be able to earn any middleman fees. I've lost to you. I think we're quite fated to be together. I'll give you the lowest price. 300,000 high-tier immortal stones a month. This is the lowest price that the owner of this house can offer. I can't go any lower. If I go any lower, we won't be able to continue this business. You can't expect me to help you make up for it, right? The middle-aged man said. Hong Yu said, All right, then we'll give you some face. Let's conclude the deal at 300,000 high-tier immortal stones a month. After a round of bargaining, the price was settled at 300,000 high-tier immortal stones. Lin Feng signed the contract with the middle-aged man and paid him a month's worth of rent. After that, the middle-aged man left. Hong Yu giggled as she looked at Lin Feng and said, No matter how rich you are, you have to be frugal. After all, money doesn't grow on trees. Lin Feng was very generous. He didn't care about money at all. As for Hong Yu's words, they actually made some sense. However, everyone's personality was different. The way they looked at things and the way they handled things was naturally very different. Lin Feng and the others each chose a room. The house was divided into 5 layers, and there were still many empty rooms. With this price, it was indeed impossible to rent such a big house from the inn. At most, the inn only had a few independent courtyards. Naturally, it couldn't be compared to this place. Lin Feng used restrictions to seal his residence. Then, he entered the space-time zone. After entering the time and space, Lin Feng seized the time to adjust his state. This was because Lin Feng planned to refine the celestial lake night heartgrass that he had previously obtained. I wonder how many levels I can break through? Lin Feng was looking forward to it. After adjusting his state of mind, Lin Feng began to refine the celestial lake night heartgrass in the origin he had obtained before. Time passed. Yi Xian had been in seclusion for 3 months. His cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. From the 5th level of the Earth Immortal Realm to the 10th level of the Earth Immortal Realm, it had actually increased by 5 levels. This made Lin Feng extremely shocked. He was also pleasantly surprised. 5 levels. What kind of astonishing improvement was this? One had to know that Lin Feng was different from ordinary cultivators. Lin Feng needed all kinds of opportunities to break through a level. Perhaps it could help others break through 10 levels. Therefore, to be able to break through 10 levels at once was an extremely difficult task for Lin Feng. Other than the increase in his own realm, Lin Feng's soul level had also increased greatly, almost reaching the level of the Saint Immortal Realm. After coming out of seclusion, Lin Feng was in an extremely good mood. It wasn't easy to break through to his current realm. However, after breaking through, the increase in his battle strength was obvious. As expected of a world where time has reversed. I've only been here for a short while, and I've already broken through to the 10th level of the Earth Immortal Realm. Next, I'll have to break through to the Sky Immortal Realm, but breaking through to the Sky Immortal Realm will be incomparably difficult. Lin Feng couldn't help but ponder. Of course, for the time being, Lin Feng didn't continue to think about this matter. Now was the time to relax. It wouldn't be too late to think about how to break through to the sky immortal realm after a few days of comfort. Cultivation. He also needed to have a balance between tension and relaxation. If he was always tense, naturally, it wouldn't be beneficial for cultivation. By the time Lin Feng came out of seclusion, 5 or 6 people had already come out. From the looks of it, they had also obtained a lot of benefits. Therefore, everyone was quite happy. The others also came out of seclusion, one after another in the next few days. After the divine beast came out of seclusion, Lin Feng felt that the divine beast seemed a little different from before. However, Lin Feng couldn't tell exactly what was different. The divine beast should have obtained a lot of benefits. That was why there was such a change. Your gains weren't bad, right? Lin Feng looked at the divine beast and asked. The divine beast seemed very happy. It said, "My bloodline has completed its evolution." Hearing this, Lin Feng couldn't help but look surprised. The bloodline had completed its evolution. This was a huge opportunity. It seemed that the divine beast had obtained other opportunities when it went to the bottom of the lake. However, Lin Feng didn't ask what it had obtained. After coming out of seclusion, Hong Yu's beautiful face was full of smiles. It seemed that she had also obtained a lot of benefits. The group planned to find a place to eat something good and celebrate. There were many high-end restaurants in Wangyang City. Lin Feng and the others came to a restaurant called Taisian Restaurant. The restaurant's business was quite good. There were many cultivators coming in and out. Lin Feng and the others booked a private room. Then, they ordered many rare delicacies. The group of people began to eat like hungry ghosts. To be able to live, to be able to eat delicious food. It was really a kind of enjoyment. Sometimes, this kind of enjoyment was even a kind of luxury for many people. This time, we were able to come out of the lake of myriad demons alive and obtain so many benefits. It's all because of little brother Lin. How about we all toast to little brother Lin? The others naturally didn't have any objections. Then, everyone began to toast Lin Feng. Everyone, please don't be so polite, Lin Feng said with a smile. Hong Yu drank too much. When she left, she seemed to be walking unsteadily. Lin Feng knew why Hong Yu drank too much. It was because many people in the group died one after another. Although those who survived had obtained a lot of benefits, Hong Yu still felt sad for those who had died. Hong Yu's personality was more or less sentimental. She was a woman, so it was understandable. Lin Feng supported Hong Yu and left with the group. Just as they arrived at the entrance, a group of cultivators walked towards them. One of the cultivators, who looked to be in his 30s, saw Hong Yu who was half leaning in Lin Feng's arms. He was slightly stunned, and then his gaze became somewhat gloomy. He looked at Lin Feng with a cold gaze. "You I didn't expect that we would meet here." The man looked at Hong Yu and said. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. He felt that this man wasn't as simple as an old friend of Hong Yu's. This was because the man looked at Hong Yu with an extremely evil gaze. It was naked possessiveness. End of chapter. Chapter 53-56. It's you. After seeing this person, Hong Yu seemed to be in a better mood, but her expression was still very unsightly. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that Hong Yu didn't have a good relationship with this man. "You we haven't seen each other in a long time. Did you miss me?" The man said with a smile. "Miss you? Yes, I missed you. Why don't you just die?" Hong Yu said hatefully. "There's a saying that goes, the deeper the love, the deeper the hatred. Actually, I can understand that. You still love me deeply, which is why you hate me so much." After hearing this guy's narcissistic words, Lin Feng was speechless. He didn't know where this guy got the confidence to say those words. There's a saying that goes, if you're shameless, you're invincible. That saying probably describes people like this guy, right? However, Lin Feng could see that Hong Yu and this guy had been together before. You're really shameless. There's nothing between us, so don't drag me into this, Hong Yu said with a cold smile. She then looked at Lin Feng and said, "Let's go." Hong Yu was still half leaning against Lin Feng's chest. Seeing how intimate the two of them were, the man couldn't help but feel even more jealous. He coldly looked at Lin Feng and said, "Brat, who do you think you are? How dare you be so intimate with you? You is my woman. Hurry up and let go of her, or I'll chop off your hands. Lin Feng said mockingly, the ignorant are fearless. You dare to mock me? The man immediately narrowed his eyes, which flickered with a sinister light. Xiaoyang, remember, I've had nothing to do with you a long time ago. So please behave yourself, Hong Yu said coldly. We have an engagement, and even now, the engagement hasn't been cancelled. You're my fiancé, and now you're saying such things to me. It really hurts me. Of course, that's not the thing that hurts me the most. The thing that hurts me the most is that you're fooling around with other men in front of me. You're not a woman at all. Zhao Yang was continuously refuted by Hong Yu. Moreover, Hong Yu and Lin Feng were very close, so Zhao Yang began to mock Hong Yu. This guy's mouth was really vicious. Hong Yu's face was incomparably ugly, but she did not want to continue being entangled with Zhao Yang. Lin Feng could also guess what Hong Yu was thinking. He said, "Get out of the way, get out of the way. A good dog doesn't block the way. Those who block the way are not good dogs." Zhao Yang's mouth twitched. Clearly, Lin Feng had called him a dog. How could Zhao Yang endure such humiliation? His eyes flickered with killing intent as he coldly said, "Brat, who do you think you are to act cool in front of me?" As soon as Zhao Yang finished speaking, Lin Feng had already kicked him. Bang! Everyone heard the dull sound of a collision. Then, they saw Zhao Yang fly out like a cannonball. Ugh! Zhao Yang could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. He fell on the street outside. You sneak attacked me. You despicable person. Zhao Yang struggled to get up and cursed angrily. However, the next moment, the guy fell to the ground and fainted. Damn, this brat doesn't play by the rules. That guy is an idiot. He kept acting so arrogantly. He deserved to be kicked unconscious. How shameful, said Lin Feng. Yeah, he really lost face. The group of cultivators who were watching the show discussed spiritedly. Zhao Yang's companions ran out to check on him. They did not know the identities of Lin Feng's group, and this matter had nothing to do with them. Naturally, they did not care and allowed Lin Feng's group to leave. After returning to their residence, everyone went back to rest. Lin Feng helped Hong Yu back. After putting Hong Yu on the bed, Lin Feng was about to leave when Hong Yu grabbed Lin Feng's hand. She struggled to sit up. Can you talk to me for a while? Hong Yu asked. Lin Feng nodded and said, lean on the bed and rest first. I'll give you some unlucky water. You might feel better after drinking some water. Okay. Hong Yu nodded. She felt a warmth in her heart. This man was afraid of comparisons. Compared to Lin Feng, Zhao Yang and Lin Feng were worlds apart. Lin Feng poured a cup of water for Hong Yu. After drinking the water, Hong Yu seemed to sober up a little. Hong Yu said, do you want to hear my story? Of course. Lin Feng said. Hong Yu said, my family encountered some danger back then. In order to survive the crisis, my family thought of marriage, and the marriage partner was this Zhao Yang. I didn't like this person because he was very pompous. However, for the sake of my family's interests, I had no choice but to make a sacrifice. At this point, Hong Yu was obviously very sad. For the sake of her family's interests, she had sacrificed her life. It sounded really sad. However, such things were simply too common in the world of cultivators. There was a saying, a person in the martial arts world has no choice. In fact, it was not easy for everyone to live. Sometimes, there were just too many things to take care of. For women, it was even more difficult. Because the world of cultivators was destined to be a world of men. The top experts were basically all men. Other than that, the leaders of the major powers were basically all men. There were very few top female cultivators, and even fewer female cultivators in power. Therefore, the status of women was much lower than imagined. This was a kind of sorrow for women. For example, Hong Yu was unable to resist such a fate. Later on, by chance, I obtained the opportunity to enter the world of time reversal. I knew that a woman, if she wanted to control her own destiny, she needed to become stronger. No one could rely on her. She could only rely on herself. Hong Yu continued. That Zhao Yang also obtained the same opportunity. He kept following me, and I couldn't chase him away. After all, We were an engaged couple in name. Later on, something happened that made me completely break up with him. At this point, Hong Yu-er's breathing became hurried. Obviously, what happened that year had a great impact on Hong Yu-er. Hong Yu-er could not forget it, and it even made Hong Yu-er hate Zhao Yang to the core. Lin Feng did not say anything. Instead, he listened quietly. Hong Yu-er calmed down for a long time before she said, "At that time, an evil expert took in a disciple. Zhao Yang knew that the evil expert liked women very much. He drugged me and then wanted to offer me to the evil expert. This way, he would be able to establish a relationship with the evil expert and successfully become the evil expert's disciple." Sogu's website. Chapter 53-57. F*** Beast. After hearing Hong Yu-er's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but curse. In order to become a disciple, giving his fiancée to someone else, to be able to do such a thing, it couldn't even be described as a beast. Even if he was a beast, he wasn't as barbaric as Zhao Yang. This guy really deserved to be cut into pieces. This guy was reincarnated into a human. The heavens were truly blind. At this time, Hong Yu-er said, "Fortunately, I was alert at that time and escaped." Hearing Hong Yu-er's words, Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. This was truly a blessing in disguise. Moreover, Hong Yu-er was able to see through Zhao Yang's true colors. Lin Feng said, "This matter is already in the past. Don't think about it anymore." "Okay." Hong Yu-er nodded. "Sit here." Hong Yu-er pointed to the side of her. Lin Feng muttered. What did Hong Yu-er mean by asking him to sit there? Lin Feng stood up and sat down beside Hong Yu-er. Just as Lin Feng sat down, Hong Yu-er had already pounced into Lin Feng's embrace and gave him a kiss. Lin Feng's mind was in a daze. A beauty throwing herself into his arms. There was such a good thing? Lin Feng pushed Hong Yu-er away and said, "Yu-er, you're drunk. Rest well." Lin Feng sighed. He was truly the current Lu Xiaohui. He was calm in his embrace. Moreover, he was calm in front of a top-grade beauty. Could there be a second man like him in this world? Hong Yu-er once again wrapped herself around him and said, "Little brother Lin, I am a clean woman. I have never been touched by another man. I want to give myself to you. I do not regret it." Hong Yu-er's words were too bold. She was so pretty in pink. Although Lin Feng had a good impression of Hong Yu-er, Lin Feng did not want to take advantage of her. The reason why Hong Yu-er did such a crazy thing today, Lin Feng felt that there was a reason. First, Hong Yu-er was drunk today. When one was drunk, it was easy to make some mistakes. Or they might do something crazy. A sober person. At this time, he naturally couldn't accompany the other party in making a mistake. 2. Zhao Yang's appearance provoked Hong Yu-er. Lin Feng actually helped Hong Yu-er out of her predicament. This made Hong Yu-er feel as if she was being protected by someone. Although Red Moon was very strong, but no matter how strong he was, she was also a woman. Women belonged to the disadvantaged group. In the end, she still needed a man's protection. Therefore, when Yi Xian protected Hong Yu-er felt a sense of reliance on Lin Feng. Of course, this kind of dependence could also be seen as a favorable impression. The current Hong Yu-er, with Lin Feng, a man and a woman alone together, the stimulation of alcohol and her dependence on Lin Feng made her want to give her everything to Lin Feng. Lin Feng rubbed Hong Yu-er's head and said, "You're tired. Sleep well. Don't think too much." Hong Yu-er revealed a tearful expression. She said, "Are you saying that because you don't like me?" Lin Feng said, "You're so beautiful. How could I not like you?" Hong Yu-er clearly still didn't believe Lin Feng's words. Lin Feng took off his shoes and lay on the bed. Then, he pulled Hong Yu-er into his embrace. Hong Yu-er was somewhat puzzled. This was because Lin Feng clearly wanted to leave just now. Now, he didn't seem to want to leave. Hong Yu-er didn't want to force Lin Feng. This made her seem very cheap. Lin Feng said, "I'm worried that you'll think too much, so I'll hug you tonight. Hurry up and sleep." Okay. Hong Yu-er nodded happily, then laid in Lin Feng's embrace, her hands tightly hugging Lin Feng. After a while, she fell asleep. Looking at Hong Yu-er's beautiful face in his arms, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. What was going on? Just like that, hugging a delicate beauty and not doing anything else. This was truly torturous. The next day, Hongyu woke up. She discovered that Lin Feng was no longer by her side. Everything that had happened yesterday, it was as if everything had been a dream. However, that dream, it was very real. Or rather, that dream was real. Hongyu felt her face become hot. After washing up, she walked out of her room and saw Lin Feng in the courtyard. Lin Feng and the divine beast were standing on a tree, seemingly chatting about something. When he saw Hongyu come out, Lin Feng smiled and said, "You look good. It seems like you rested well yesterday." Hongyu nodded with a red face. She asked, "What were you talking about just now?" The divine beast said that there's a voice in its mind, and that voice is calling for it. Lin Feng said, "There's such a thing?" Hongyu-er's face immediately revealed a shocked expression. "Of course," Lin Feng replied. "For the divine beast, this might be a fortuitous encounter." Hongyu said, "That's right. It might indeed be a fortuitous encounter. We discussed finding a time to set off and search for that place." Lin Feng said. Hongyu said, "I want to go with you." "Of course." Lin Feng nodded. Hongyu was very happy in her heart. After what happened last night, her relationship with Lin Feng seemed to have become much closer. However, she was still a little shy. Lin Feng said, "I haven't had a good look around since I came here. Why don't we go take a look around and see if we can buy some rare things?" Actually, Lin Feng felt that, since the time reversal world was so extraordinary, there must be many treasures in the time reversal world that could not be found in the outside world. Lin Feng was naturally interested in walking around. He might be able to buy some extraordinary treasures. If he could really buy them, it would be of great benefit to him. Hongyu nodded and said, "All right, in an ancient city like this, there must be a lot of good things." Other than Hongyu Chu Yuan and Yo Dashin also followed Lin Feng, Hongyu and the divine beast out of their residence. The rest of the people stayed in their residence to rest. The divine beast's original appearance was too eye-catching, so the divine beast used a transformation technique. He turned into a child who looked around 7 or 8 years old. His eyes were jet black. Her jade-like appearance was very cute. However, after transforming into a human, the little guy seemed to be a little unused to it. However, he would probably get used to it after a while. Previously, Hongyu had come to Shangyang City a few times, and she had always come here to peddle some more precious things. Therefore, Hongyu knew where the business center was. Hongyu led the way in front, and Lin Feng and the others arrived at the most prosperous business center. There were many large trading companies around. Many of the trading companies were 20 to 30 stories high. Other than the large trading companies, there were also many different kinds of shops. Of course, most of them were the stalls set up by the cultivators outside. Suddenly, Lin Feng looked at a stall, and his eyes immediately revealed a look of pleasant surprise. End of chapter. Chapter 53-58. The owner of the stall was an old man. His beard was white, and he didn't look young. However, his cultivation base was quite high. Lin Feng came to the front of the stall. He pointed at a broken black jar and said, "How much is this jar? I want it." The jar Lin Feng was pointing at was the fragment of the heaven-devouring jar. Lin Feng's heaven-devouring jar had never been fully repaired, mainly because it was missing some parts. Lin Feng didn't expect to see a broken corner of the heaven-devouring jar in this place. Although I don't know what this jar is, the runes on it are extraordinary. That's why this jar isn't cheap. If you can pay 1,000,000 high-tier immortal stones, you can take it away." The old man said, "What? You want 1,000,000 high-tier immortal stones for a broken jar? Isn't that too much of a scam?" Hongyu couldn't help but say. For someone like Hongyu who was used to being frugal, this was indeed a huge sum of money. The old man said, "This old man only sells things to people who know their value." Lin Feng nodded and said, "All right, 1,000,000 it is then." Hongyu was a smart woman. Although she liked to be frugal, she knew that this thing was extremely important to Lin Feng. Ordinary things wouldn't catch Lin Feng's attention. Lin Feng took out 1,000,000 high-tier immortal stones and handed it to the old man. Then, he took the fragment of the heaven-devouring jar. Lin Feng kept the fragment of the heaven-devouring jar in time and space. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly widened, because after the fragment of the heaven-devouring jar entered time and space, the heaven-devouring jar flew over. It fused with the fragment of the heaven-devouring jar. At the same time, a voice came from the heaven-devouring jar. "The starting point, I'll be waiting for you." When Lin Feng heard the voice, he thought he had misheard. However, Lin Feng soon realized that he hadn't misheard. The voice quickly rang out again. "The starting point, I'll be waiting for you." The voice belonged to a man, and it sounded extremely tired. Lin Feng hurriedly asked, "Where is the starting point? Where is the starting point?" Upon hearing Lin Feng's question, the voice continued, "I'll wait for you at the starting point." It was the same words as before. This caused Lin Feng to frown slightly. He really couldn't find any useful information from this sentence. Lin Feng cut off his connection with the heaven-swallowing jar. This time, the heaven-devouring jar underwent a change after fusing with the new part. Naturally, it was something that made Lin Feng extremely happy. Lin Feng tried to guess who the owner of the voice was. Could it be the heaven-devouring Devil Emperor? Lin Feng couldn't help but think of a certain possibility. The heaven-devouring Devil Emperor was the ancestor of the sovereign Emperor clan. He was extremely powerful. He was a direct descendant of the heaven-devouring Devil Lord. Back then, the deaths of the heaven-devouring Devil Lord and the heaven-devouring Devil Emperor seemed to have something to do with the Devil Pagoda. However, Lin Feng wasn't particularly sure if that was the case. If this voice really belonged to the heaven-devouring Devil Emperor, did that mean that he was still alive? Lin Feng immediately became excited at the thought of this. Their bloodline didn't have any powerful figures left. If there was a powerful figure, would the Black Fog clan and Black Robe clan dare to make a move on his mother? He definitely wouldn't dare. If he could find the heaven-devouring Devil Emperor, this would be extremely important to the Sovereign Emperor clan. However, the clues he had were limited. Lin Feng needed to find a way to completely repair the heaven-devouring jar. Only the heaven-devouring jar had been repaired. Perhaps only then would he be able to obtain more clues. He might even be able to use these clues to find his ancestor, the heaven-devouring Devil Emperor. "Little friend, is there anything else you want?" The old man liked straightforward people like Lin Feng, so he asked. He wanted to do more business with Lin Feng. Lin Feng came back to his senses. Then, he looked at the stall. He searched carefully. There was nothing else that interested him. He shook his head. Then, Lin Feng and the others walked forward. The stalls on both sides of the street also had many good things. However, first of all, one could pick out the good things from the countless things. Someone is selling core formation pills. At that moment, there was a commotion in front of them. "Where is it?" someone asked. "It's on the street next door." Someone said, "Let's go and take a look." A large number of cultivators rushed to the street next door. "What are core formation immortal herbs?" Lin Feng asked curiously. Core formation pills are extremely precious pills that are infused with golden feathergrass. They can help a cultivator break through to the golden immortal realm. Lin Feng was surprised, and then continued to ask, "How much can it increase the probability?" Hong Yuer said, "It increases the probability by 60%. Hearing this, Lin Feng couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Breaking through to the golden immortal realm was even more difficult than breaking through to the saint immortal realm. This was because golden immortals were known as immortal immortals. Breaking through to the golden immortal realm, one's entire level of life would change. Once a cultivator broke through, there would be an unimaginable increase in strength. However, the probability of breaking through to the golden immortal realm through serious cultivation was very small. It was said that there wasn't even a 1% chance. Although the world of cultivators was vast and boundless, there were countless cultivators. But in reality, cultivators who could break through to the true immortal realm were definitely rare existences. Not to mention breaking through to the golden immortal realm. In the world where time had reversed, there were 3,000 top experts from different eras. But in reality, golden immortal realm cultivators were only a minority. Most of them were cultivators below the golden immortal realm. The resources here were so rich. Breaking through was so difficult, let alone the cultivators of the outside world. breaking through to the golden immortal realm. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. And this kind of core formation immortal medicine, it could actually increase the success rate of breaking through by 60%. It was indeed too inconceivable. Let's go. Let's go and take a look, Lin Feng said. The group of people rushed towards the opposite street. When they arrived, there was already a large number of cultivators gathered there. At the corner of the street, there was a small square with an arena. A middle-aged cultivator stood in the arena. There were many cultivators standing guard around the arena. There were also more than 10 tall and beautiful female cultivators in revealing clothes standing in the arena. The middle-aged cultivator said loudly, "Everyone, please be quiet. I know that everyone is here to buy core formation immortal medicine, but the number of core formation immortal medicine is limited. We can only sell it to a few fated people." After hearing the middle-aged cultivator's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. Why did he feel that the middle-aged cultivator was a swindler? End of chapter. Chapter 53-59. How many immortal stones does one core formation immortal pill sell for? Someone asked. The middle-aged cultivator immediately said, "Everyone should know that the core formation immortal pills sold by some top-notch businesses are worth around 100 million immortal stones. But in reality, the cost of their core formation immortal pills isn't high, but because of their monopoly, their core formation immortal pills are sold at sky-high prices. However, from today onwards, Peng, will tell everyone that there is no need to eat expensive pills anymore. The core formation immortal pills we sell are only worth 5 million immortal stones. You can buy a core formation immortal pill with 5 million immortal stones," the middle-aged man said loudly. Lin Feng realized that this guy was really good at making speeches. He was simply too good at stirring up people's hearts. After he finished speaking, the surrounding cultivators were in an uproar. 100 million high-grade immortal stones was enough to scare off 99% of the cultivators. However, many people could still afford 5 million high-grade immortal stones. "It can't be fake, right?" someone asked. "Yeah, it's so cheap. It can't be fake, right?" someone else said. Everyone was naturally suspicious. After all, the difference in price was too great. "Is there an alchemist among you?" the middle-aged cultivator asked. Me. Many cultivators raised their hands. The middle-aged cultivator said, "I know everyone is worried that this is fake. How about this? We'll randomly pick 10 alchemists to come up on stage and examine the pills. Then, we'll know whether or not this pill is fake." "That's a good idea," someone in the crowd said. Someone else said, "With so many alchemists examining the pills together, they'll definitely be able to tell if it's fake. If it's real, then it'll be good news for us." Hong Yu couldn't help but whisper, "Why do I feel like these people are all fake?" Lin Feng said, "They are. You, and you." The middle-aged cultivator pointed at the alchemists, who had raised their hands one after another. Soon, 10 alchemists went up on stage. "Let these 10 alchemists go up on stage together. I'm sure everyone can rest assured, right?" the middle-aged cultivator said with a smile, full of confidence. "Forget it. You were the one who chose these people. Who knows if these people are just here to support you?" someone said. The surrounding cultivators were no fools. Many people felt that this cultivator's words made sense. The middle-aged cultivator said, "If everyone thinks that they're here to support us, then let's do it this way. If you're willing to come on stage to test us, you're welcome to come on stage." "Let me try." "Oh, I'll give it a try too." One cultivator after another went up the ring. Lin Feng also planned to go up and take a look, because if these Dan formation immortal medicines were real, they would be very useful to him. Lin Feng rushed towards the arena. Hong Yu felt that it was fun and followed Lin Feng to the stage. All right, there were already more than 50 people. So many people couldn't possibly be here to support him, right? "Now, let's have everyone examine these pills," the middle-aged cultivator said. He waved his hand, and a scantily clad woman walked over with a porcelain bottle. "There's a core formation celestial medicine that I bought at a high price here. Everyone, please observe this core forming immortal medicine first. Then, you can compare it with the core formation celestial medicine I'm selling. That way, You'll know if the core formation celestial medicine I'm selling is real or fake. The scantily clad woman walked in front of the first cultivator. That cultivator opened the bottle and observed it for a while before putting it back. The people on the stage began to observe it one by one. Soon, they arrived at Lin Feng's side. Lin Feng had studied alchemy for a few years in his early years, but later on, he focused all his energy on studying formations. Thus, he didn't study alchemy very much. However, although Lin Feng didn't study alchemy very much, his eyes were still very sharp. He also knew how to determine if these pills were real or fake. Lin Feng's spiritual will entered the pill and began to examine it. Then, he put the bottle back. Hong Yuer also began to observe the pill. He didn't know if Hong Yuer really knew how to differentiate between pills. Soon, all 50 people finished looking at the real core formation celestial medicine. The middle-aged cultivator said, "Now, I'll ask the servant to take out the core formation celestial medicine I'm about to sell for everyone to see." The middle-aged cultivator waved his hand again. More than 10 scantily clad women each carried a tray and walked up. The cultivators on the stage began to observe the pills in batches. "It's real. It's real. It's real," many cultivators said after looking at the pills. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. Could the pills really be real? If they were real, he would buy a batch when the time came. With Lin Feng's wealth, he couldn't buy a lot of core formation celestial medicine worth 100 million high-grade immortal stones. But a core formation celestial medicine worth 5 million high-grade immortal stones. He could definitely buy 100 of them. When the time came, he would reward them. How many golden immortals did the Sin domain have? However, Lin Feng couldn't be sure if the pills were real or not. After all, if others said they were real, would it be real? That might not be true. Soon, a servant girl brought the pills in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng picked up the pill bottle. His spiritual will entered it. Lin Feng's spiritual will wrapped around the pill. He carefully inspected it. This pill is real? Soon, Lin Feng revealed a very surprised expression. However, he still carefully inspected it a few times. Lin Feng discovered that the internal structure of the two pills, the ratio of the ingredients, and so on were basically the same. Although there were slight differences, it didn't affect the medicinal effects. So, Lin Feng felt that these pills were real. After several inspections, Lin Feng didn't find anything wrong with the other party. This was enough to explain a lot. At this time, Hong Yuer said, "It's fake. This is fake. Fairy, don't speak nonsense." The middle-aged cultivator's expression suddenly sank. Hong Yuer said, "How am I speaking nonsense? You guys don't let people say that you're selling fake pills. Everyone, don't be fooled. You're saying that I'm selling fake pills? Everyone can ask the other alchemists if these pills are real." The middle-aged cultivator said, "It's definitely real. That's right. This is real. Everyone, please don't be fooled by this evil woman." Many alchemists said. Lin Feng asked, "Is it real?" Hong Yuer nodded. At this time, the middle-aged cultivator said, "I sold the core formation celestial medicine so cheaply to benefit everyone. How can I allow you to slander me? Therefore, if you don't explain today's matter clearly, don't think about leaving." As soon as the middle-aged man finished speaking, more than 10 guards around the arena surrounded Hong Yuer. Please remember the domain name of this book, mobile version of reading website. Chapter 5360. What are you doing? You want to fight? I advise you not to. Otherwise, I'll destroy your stall. Do you believe me? Lin Feng sneered at the middle-aged man. Lin Feng had seen his fair share of scammers before. These scammers had many tricks up their sleeves. However, this was the first time he had seen someone selling fake medicine. Lin Feng was a bit angry. Fortunately, Hong Yuer could tell the authenticity of the core formation immortal medicine. Otherwise, he would have had to spend a large sum of money to buy a batch of core formation immortal medicine. Wouldn't that be a huge loss? Seeing that Lin Feng wasn't someone to be trifled with, and that selling medicine was the most important thing right now, the middle-aged man didn't hesitate. For now, he didn't want to pursue the matter. He sneered and said, "I don't welcome you here, so please leave." Lin Feng grabbed Hong Yuer's hand. Together with Hong Yuer, They walked down the stage. Hong Yu-er's beautiful eyes looked at Lin Feng's hand. She felt a sweetness in her heart. She didn't struggle and let Lin Feng grab her hand. That girl is really something, said Lin Feng. Someone said. So what if she's something? Can't you see that she already has a man? Someone else said. Damn it. Why can't I get a beauty like her? If I can sleep with her just once, I'm willing to shorten my lifespan by 1,000 years. Someone said gloomily. All sorts of voices could be heard. Lin Feng and Hong Yu-er walked down from the stage. Boss, you guys are. Chu Yuan was a smart person. When he saw Lin Feng and Hong Yu holding hands, he immediately looked confused. Then, he looked at Lin Feng and Hong Yu-er with an ambiguous gaze. Hong Yu-er blushed and quickly pulled her hand back. As for Niu Dashan's wooden brain, he didn't think much of it. Divine beasts were still children, so they didn't understand these things. Let's go, Lin Feng said. Hong Yu-er nodded. As for whether the others were willing to be spendthrifts, Lin Feng didn't care. Others didn't trust Hong Yu-er's words. Lin Feng trusted Hong Yu-er completely. Although Lin Feng didn't know what was wrong with the pill, since Hong Yu-er said that it was a fake pill, he didn't need to worry about it. In that case, that kind of pill was definitely fake. After leaving, Hong Yu-er looked at Lin Feng and said, You believe me just because I say it's fake? Aren't you afraid that my judgment will be wrong? Don't be afraid. I know that you must be very confident since you dared to say those words, Lin Feng said. Seeing Lin Feng believe in her so much, Hong Yu-er was very happy. She continued, that kind of pill, in terms of composition, isn't much different from a real core formation immortal pill, but it's missing one ingredient. What medicinal ingredient? Lin Feng asked. Golden feathergrass, said Hong Yu-er. Lin Feng had heard Hong Yu-er mention the golden feathergrass before. Lin Feng said, but I didn't find anything special about it. I feel like the ingredients of the two pills are the same. It's indeed the same. In fact, apart from the golden feathergrass, the other ingredients used to refine core formation immortal pills are rather ordinary. At most, 10 high-tier immortal stones would be enough to gather them all, Hong Yu-er said. Lin Feng said, if that's the case, then they're really profiteering. Hong Yu-er smiled bitterly and said, that's right. Speculating in houses and selling pills has always been profiteering. Lin Feng said, you said that the guy didn't sell any golden feathergrass. What's going on? If such an important ingredient is missing, shouldn't it be easy for others to discover it? Hong Yu-er said, it's not easy to discover. They used another ingredient to replace the golden feathergrass. The other ingredient can pass off as genuine, and most people won't be able to discover it. Lin Feng asked in surprise, what did they use to replace the golden feathergrass? Hong Yu-er said, golden desire grass. It's a type of spirit herb that's 99% similar to the golden feathergrass. This spirit herb's medicinal properties are mild, and it's suitable to be used as a supplementary spirit herb. Moreover, it has a very strong pill-melting ability that can allow pills to condense quickly. Lin Feng said, you're actually so proficient in medicine. It seems like you're an alchemist? Chu Yuan smiled and said, Brother Lin, you don't know, right? Our boss comes from a family of alchemists. The 6th-generation alchemist from the era of titled gods is our boss's ancestor. Lin Feng was shocked. He hadn't expected Hong Yu-er to have such a background. As a descendant of the alchemist, she must have been influenced by alchemy since she was young. Therefore, Hong Yu-er's attainments in alchemy were definitely extremely high. In addition, Hong Yu-er's cultivation was very high. This kind of powerhouse tended to have a unique understanding of alchemy. Moreover, Hong Yu-er's ancestor had passed down some recipes or experience in alchemy. This was enough to make Hong Yu-er a top-tier alchemist. He had picked up a treasure. This time, he had really picked up a treasure. Lin Feng felt that he should find an opportunity to take Hong Yu-er down. He had to have such a treasure in his hands. When he left the time reversal world, Lin Feng even planned to bring Hong Yu-er to the Undying Realm, Sin Domain. They needed a top-tier alchemist like Hong Yu-er too much. Lin Feng said, Yu-er, if I find the golden feathergrass, can you refine it into a core formation immortal medicine? Yes. Hong Yu-er nodded. Hearing Hong Yu-er's words, Lin Feng wished that he could carry her in his arms right now. Then, he would give her a passionate kiss. Hong Yu-er was very powerful, and she was also a top-tier alchemist. She wasn't someone a flower vase could compare to. Lin Feng asked, "Where can I get this golden feather grass?" "I don't know either," Hong Yu-er said. After pausing for a moment, she continued, "The reason why the core formation immortal medicine is sold at such a high price is because we can't get the golden feather grass. Even if some of the big powers sell core formation immortal medicine, they will sell a limited amount. Usually, they will only sell one core formation immortal medicine a month. The few big powers that sell core formation immortal medicine can only sell a few core formation immortal medicine a month. Ordinary people won't sell it even if they have money. Usually, they will sell it to the powers that they have a good relationship with." Lin Feng frowned and said, "In that case, even if we have immortal stones, there's no hope of buying core formation immortal medicine?" Hong Yu-er said, "It's not completely hopeless. It's still possible to spend money to find someone to use connections." Lin Feng rubbed his chin and said, "If only we knew where to find the golden feather grass." Sogu's website. Chapter 5361. Lin Feng and the others arrived at a large trading company. This trading company was called the Holy Heavens Trading Company. It seemed that this trading company belonged to the Holy Heavens Immortal Tower. The top trading companies were indeed in the hands of these top forces. Lin Feng and the others arrived at the Holy Heavens Trading Company. Lin Feng saw the exorcism crystals on the counter. Each one was worth 2 million high-grade immortal stones. "What's the use of those crystals?" Lin Feng asked Hong Yu-er. "They have similar effects to exorcism incense, but they can disperse even more powerful creatures of darkness. Exorcism incense was only suitable for use in the outer regions. If they entered the central region or the inner regions at that time, the exorcism incense might not be effective. However, exorcism crystals could still be effective." Lin Feng bought 3 exorcism crystals. He kept one for himself, gave another to the holy beast, and gave the third to Hong Yu-er. "Now that we have exorcism crystals, we can even go to the central region and try it out," Chu Yuan said excitedly. Hong Yu-er nodded. She was also very happy. Exorcism crystals were very important to cultivators like them. They continued to stroll around the trading company. "Boss, look. It's angel wings." At that moment, Chu Yuan pointed at something on the counter. There were a few crystal balls on the counter. Each crystal ball contained a pair of energy wings of the sealer. Those energy wings basically only had one pair of wings. However, there were 4 energy wings sealed in one of the energy balls. It was a 4-winged angel wing. It was obviously more precious. Chu Yuan continued, "Wow, there are even 4-winged angel wings. Boss, if you refine them, your bloodline will definitely evolve." "Bloodline evolution? Does you-er have the bloodline of an angel?" Lin Feng asked in surprise. Hong Yu-er nodded and said, "My father is a descendant of the divine medicine, but my mother is an angel." Lin Feng thought to himself, "No wonder Hong Yu-er was so beautiful." It turned out that her mother was a female angel. The women of the angel race were famous for being beautiful and charming. Therefore, there was a reason why Hong Yu-er was so beautiful. They came to the counter. When Red Moon saw the price of the 4-winged angel wings, she was shocked. This was because the price of a 4-winged angel's wing was as high as 12 million high-grade immortal stones. She only had about 1 million high-grade immortal stones on her. Naturally, it was impossible for him to afford the 4-winged angelic wings. "Let's go somewhere else," Hong Yu-er said. Lin Feng planned to buy it for Hong Yu-er. Although 12 million high-grade immortal stones wasn't a small sum, it would be worth it if it could help Hong Yu-er evolve her bloodline. Lin Feng looked at the salesperson and said, "Take off the angel's wings. I want them." "All right, young master, please wait for a moment." When the salesperson heard that Lin Feng wanted to buy the 4-winged angel's wings, he was naturally extremely happy, because if she sold it, she would get a high commission. Therefore, when the salesperson talked to Lin Feng, he was very respectful and careful. "Young master, it's better if you don't spend money. This thing is too expensive," Hong Yu-er said. Actually, Hong Yu-er felt that Lin Feng only had about 100 million immortal stones on him. He had spent a lot of money recently. There would be many places where he would need to spend money in the future. Therefore, Hong Yu didn't dare to spend money so extravagantly. Isn't this Hong Yu? We haven't seen each other in a long time. At this moment, a voice sounded. Everyone looked over and saw a dozen people walking over. The one who spoke was a tall and beautiful woman. Her face and figure were comparable to Hong Yu's. She was also a top-grade beauty. However, the woman's eyes were raised, and she was extremely arrogant. There was a group of people beside her, and a few of them had extremely strong cultivations. It seemed like they were the woman's escorts. Since this woman was so beautiful, she naturally didn't lack escorts by her side. Sun Yushue. After seeing this woman, Hong Yu's expression turned slightly unsightly. You didn't expect to see me here? The woman called Sun Yushue said with a smile. She looked at Hong Yu condescendingly and said, "It seems like you haven't been doing well these years. You're just buying something, and you're complaining that it's expensive. Is this the man you found? Isn't this man too ordinary? Isn't your eyesight a little too bad?" Sun Yushue glanced at Lin Feng with a mocking expression. This woman clearly didn't get along with Hong Yu. However, this woman was too self-righteous. Even she was mocked by her. However, Lin Feng wasn't angry. It wasn't worth getting angry over this woman. He looked at Hong Yu and asked, "Who's this big ant?" PFFF. As soon as Lin Feng said that, Hong Yu and the others burst out laughing. Sun Yushue was such a beautiful woman. Lin Feng had actually used big ant to address Sun Yushue. "Brat, what did you say?" Sun Yushue's beautiful face turned ashen with anger, and her chest heaved violently. Although this woman was very annoying, her figure and appearance were indeed the best of the best. Even when she was angry, she was still very pleasing to the eye. But so what? Lin Feng had seen too many beauties. Therefore, if she was looking for a scolding in front of Lin Feng, it didn't matter if she was a beauty or not. Lin Feng wouldn't be polite with her. Lin Feng said, "Big ant, what's wrong with you? Why is your face turning green and red? Are you sick? Please don't hide your illness for fear of treatment." You. Sun Yushue pointed at Lin Feng, gritting her teeth in anger. When had she ever suffered such a loss? Hong Yu said, "Little brother Lin, you've misunderstood. She's not my big aunt. She's about the same age as me." "What? About the same age as you?" Sorry, I really couldn't tell just now." Lin Feng smiled faintly. How could he apologize? Sun Yushue realized that talking to this guy in front of her would make her angry half to death, so Sun Yushue coldly snorted and ignored Lin Feng. She looked at Hong Yu and said, "Hong Yu, since you can't afford the four-winged angel wings, I'll buy them." "Okay." Hong Yu nodded bitterly. Then, she pulled Lin Feng, wanting to leave this place as soon as possible. End of chapter. Chapter 5362. Lin Feng said, "Don't be in such a hurry to leave. The four-winged angel's wings are useful to you, so let's buy it." But, Hong Yu was a little hesitant. She was not a vain woman. Although she did need the four-winged angel's wings, the price of the four-winged angel's wings made Hong Yu hesitate. She did not want to spend money recklessly. Don't puff yourself up at your own cost. When the time comes, you will only be asking for humiliation. Sun Yushue said sarcastically. This woman had always thought that Lin Feng was just an ordinary person. Naturally, she looked down on Lin Feng. So, her words were also quite unpleasant. Actually, the reason why Sun Yushue said these unpleasant words was because Sun Yushue was jealous of Hong Yu. Back then, Sun Yushue had once studied alchemy in the medicine god family. She was about the same age as Hong Yu. Both of them were extremely beautiful. However, the gap between the two of them in terms of talent in alchemy was too great. Although Sun Yushue was also very talented, compared to Hong Yu, she was too far away. At that time, there were naturally many people who studied alchemy in the medicine god family. The various large factions liked to send their outstanding disciples to the medicine god family to be nurtured. At that time, Hong Yu was like a moon surrounded by stars. However, no one paid attention to Sun Yushue. Sun Yushue became more and more jealous of Hong Yu. As time passed, hatred grew from jealousy. This kind of thing was too common in the world of cultivators. Later on, something happened to the medicine god family. The medicine god family declined greatly. Hong Yu also became the sacrifice of the family's marriage alliance. As for Sun Yushue's family, they soared. Even though many years had passed, Sun Yushue still couldn't help but recall the past when she saw Hong Yu. Every time she saw Hong Yu, she would humiliate her. Even the people around Hong Yu would be humiliated by Sun Yushue. This could bring her spiritual pleasure. Lin Feng looked at Sun Yushue indifferently and asked, "Do you really want to buy the four-winged angel's wings?" Of course. Sun Yushue did not deny it because she also had the blood of the angel clan. The four-winged angel's wings was also very useful to her. Sun Yushue and Hong Yu were. Sun Yushue had a backer in the time reversal world. The reason why the Sun family rose was because of this backer. This backer was a Saint Realm expert. When this backer was young, he offended someone and his entire family was killed. An old ancestor of the Sun clan saved him when he passed by. This was a life-saving grace. After he took his revenge, he disappeared. Until many years ago, when it reappeared, it had become incomparably powerful. Sun Yushue's talent was not bad, and she was taken in as a disciple by that backer. He had the protection of a Saint Realm expert. Sun Yushue was like a phoenix that had flown up to a branch. There was an endless stream of people trying to curry favor with her and pursue her. Sun Yushue waved her hand, and someone brought her a lot of good stuff. Those suitors were willing to spend a lot of money. Sun Yushue was a smart woman. Over the years, he had obtained many good things from his pursuers, and his master had also rewarded him with many good things. She only kept a few things that she could use and sold everything else, so she had a large amount of wealth in her hands. It was no surprise that she could afford the four-winged angel's wings. "Since you want it, I'll let you have it," Lin Feng said. Sun Yushue immediately revealed a smug expression. She had already expected this. Lin Feng was such an ordinary man. What qualifications did he have to compete with her? Hong Yu felt a little bitter in her heart. Although she didn't want Lin Feng to buy such an expensive thing for her, but it was because of a woman's pride. She still hoped that Lin Feng would compete with Sun Yushue, because this could prove what kind of position she had in Lin Feng's heart. But Lin Feng directly gave it to Sun Yushue. Did she really not have much of a place in Lin Feng's heart? Hong Yu's thoughts started to run wild, so she felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. Sun Yushue was about to mock Lin Feng and Hong Yu, when Lin Feng turned to look at the salesman. He said, "Since your company is opened by the sacred Heaven Immortal Tower, you should have some treasures, right? Although the four-winged angel's wings are extraordinary, it's not that precious. Do you have the 36-winged angel's wings, or the 72-winged angel's wings?" The salesman smiled bitterly and said, "Young master, we really don't have such high-grade angel's wings, but we do have the 16-winged angel's wings. It's the highest grade of angel's wings in our company, and it's also one of the treasures of our company." "Bring me the 16-winged angel's wings," Lin Feng said. After hearing Lin Feng's words, everyone was shocked. The price of the 16-winged angel's wings was definitely sky-high, because with every additional pair of wings, the price would increase crazily. But Lin Feng asked the salesman to bring the 16-winged angel's wings. Could it be that Lin Feng wanted to buy the 16-winged angel's wings? How is this possible? Sun Yushue's face was full of disbelief. She felt that Lin Feng was definitely trying to mystify things. Lin Feng's appearance was not bad, but he was too ordinary. At the very least, he should buy a set of powerful robes, shoes, a jade pendant, a belt, and so on. But Lin Feng was wearing ordinary clothes. How could he be someone who could casually take out a large sum of immortal stones? The 16-winged angel's wings is worth 120 million high-grade immortal stones. "Young master, are you sure you want it?" the salesman asked. She felt that she should remind Lin Feng because the 16-winged angel's wings was one of the treasures of their company. Such an expensive price was not something an ordinary person could afford. Sogu's website. Chapter 5363. You. Sun Yushue pointed at Lin Feng, speechless for a moment. All these years, she had only managed to accumulate 30 to 40 million high-grade immortal stones. Sun Yushue had thought that she was extremely wealthy. But now, She realized how laughable she had been. That little bit of wealth. What was that? Sun Yushue looked at Hong Yu, and immediately revealed an expression of envy and jealousy. To put it bluntly, a woman had to find a good home. That was how society worked. If a woman could find a powerful man to protect her, her cultivation would rise quickly, and she would have all sorts of treasures and an endless supply of immortal stones. That was the ideal life for a woman. Sun Yushue had thought that Hong Yu's life was destined to be a tragedy, so she had taken pleasure in Hong Yu's misfortune. She had been waiting to see Hong Yu make a fool of herself. That was why she had humiliated Hong Yu over and over again. But now, she realized how laughable her actions had been. When the manager of the trading company heard the news, he personally came over with a group of higher-ups. He personally brought the sealed angelic wings. The manager was called Sheng Wudi. He was a middle-aged man with a very domineering name. His cultivation was naturally very strong as well. He was a quasi-saint expert. His status was very revered. Ordinary people couldn't meet him just because they wanted to. Many people couldn't help but cry out when they saw Sheng Wudi and greeted him. Sheng Wudi nodded along the way, looking like a smooth and slick person. But then again, it made sense. To be in charge of such a large trading company, he naturally wasn't a simple person. Sheng Wudi came to Lin Feng's side and cupped his fists. This humble one is Sheng Wudi, the manager of the Holy Heavens Trading Company. How should I address you, young master? This humble one is Lin Feng. Lin Feng introduced himself. He only gave his name and nothing else. Sheng Wudi handed the crystal ball containing the sealed angelic wings to Lin Feng and said, Lin Gongzi, I've brought the 16 angelic wings. Please check them. If there are no problems, we can conclude the deal. Lin Feng only glanced at it, but he didn't check it. He said, I trust the Sagely Heaven Trading Company's reputation, so there's no need to check it. He then handed the crystal ball to Hong Yu. Hong Yu's hands trembled slightly as she held the crystal ball that sealed the 16 winged angelic wings. This was a supreme treasure worth 120 million high-grade immortal stones. In the past, kill Hong Yu. Hong Yu couldn't believe that there would be a day when she would be able to refine such a rare treasure to awaken her bloodline. Not long ago, Hong Yu thought that Lin Feng did not have her in his heart, so she did not compete with Sun Yushue. At that time, Hong Yu was very sad. Only now did he realize that he had misunderstood Lin Feng. It turned out that Lin Feng wanted to give him the best things. Hong Yu was also a woman, so she naturally had vanity. When she saw the envious and jealous gazes around her, she felt very proud. Chu Yuan said, I didn't expect Brother Lin to be so rich. Boss, you've really struck gold this time. The 16 winged angelic wings might be able to continuously evolve your bloodline. Yes. Hong Yu nodded. She was very happy. She knew that she had underestimated Lin Feng's wealth. Lin Feng seemed even more mysterious than she had imagined. Lin Feng looked at Sun Yushue and said, Now, you can go buy the 4-winged angelic wings. You doesn't care about such trash, but you treat it like a treasure. You're going too far. Sun Yushue was so angry that her whole body trembled. Hong Yu sneered, Sun Yushue, you're the one who thinks you're infallible. You act all high and mighty, looking down on others. You should know that those who humiliate others will be humiliated by others. You have no right to criticize others. Sun Yushue said coldly, Hong Yu, don't be so smug. Do you think that you alone can obtain a supreme treasure like the 16 winged angelic wings? Didn't you rely on a man? Hong Yu said, a woman should find a good home. You can go look for one too. See if there's a man who's willing to spend 120 million high-grade immortal stones to buy something for you. Sun Yushue was rendered speechless by Hong Yu's words. Hong Yu's words were very reasonable. Women really did need men. There were too few women who didn't need men. Perhaps the Red World Fairy was such a woman, but it was also possible that the Red World Fairy would have to rely on a man in the future. Lin Feng had told her that he wanted to conquer the Red World Fairy. If even a woman like the Red World Fairy had to rely on a man in the end, in this world, was there any woman who didn't rely on a man? The world of cultivators was a world where men reigned supreme. Male cultivators dominated everything. Therefore, The idea that women were men's accessories was deeply ingrained in everyone's heart. Sun Yushue didn't chase away those suitors because she wanted to wait for a man who could satisfy her. Until now, she still hadn't found one. Now, she saw that her sworn enemy had found such a good man. How could Sun Yushue not be angry? We'll see. Sun Yushue stomped her foot. She didn't buy anything and directly rushed outside. Sun Yushue's matter was just a small interlude to Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't take it to heart. Lin Gongzi, why don't we go up and have a chat? Shang Wudi smiled at Lin Feng. All right, I'll have to trouble you to lead the way. Lin Feng said. Shang Wudi smiled and said, Lin Gongzi, please. Lin Feng's group followed Shang Wudi's group to the VIP lounge on the third floor. Once the host and guest were seated, Shang Wudi smiled and said, Lin Gongzi, you don't look familiar. I presume that Lin Gongzi hasn't been in the time reversal world for long, right? When Lin Feng heard Shang Wudi, he understood that Shang Wudi wanted to make him talk. Lin Feng smiled and said, Indeed, I haven't been in the time reversal world for long. Where did Lin Gongzi come from? Shang Wudi narrowed his eyes and asked. Lin Feng raised an eyebrow and said, I don't know the exact location, but I remember taking a teleportation array and arriving at the territory of one of my father's subordinates. My father's subordinate then sent me here. Shang Wudi was shocked. Lin Feng's father's subordinate actually knew how to enter the time reversal world? Wasn't that a little too unbelievable? It was said that anyone who knew how to enter the time reversal world was at least a peak sage. If Lin Feng's father's subordinate was so powerful, just how terrifying was Lin Feng's father? Sogu's website. Chapter 5364. Of course, Lin Feng was just trying to fool Shang Wudi. However, some of the things he said were true. For example, his father, Lin Beitian, was indeed powerful. His background was also extraordinary. However, he didn't have many experts behind him. Now, the experts behind him were the savage and senior Dugiya. Of course, there was also his grandmaster, Wang Mingchuan. Although Grandmaster Wang Mingchuan always had a smile on his face. However, Lin Feng had a feeling that Wang Mingchuan was an extremely terrifying existence. In fact, he had another backer, Lord Tortoise. Unfortunately, Lord Tortoise had been captured by a mysterious person. As for his other backers, such as Li Dianli's Claw, Devil Hand, and so on, Lin Feng had no idea where they had run off to. Normally, they didn't have much contact with Lin Feng, although they would take care of Lin Feng due to their ancestors' relationship. However, they couldn't be considered Lin Feng's Dao protector. Only the savage and the others could be considered Lin Feng's Dao protectors. They were even willing to sacrifice themselves for Lin Feng. However, there were some things that were both true and false. Sometimes, people might not necessarily believe you if you were telling the truth, and people might not necessarily believe you if you were telling a lie. If you wanted to fool others, you had to tell them the truth. For example, right now, Shang Wudi was someone who had seen a lot, but he felt that Lin Feng's words were trustworthy. Disciples of ordinary factions, even direct descendants, wouldn't give their own disciples so much money. Moreover, Lin Feng's wealth was clearly not limited to that. Shang Wudi said, there are only a few entrances in the world that allow one to enter the world of time reversal. At the very most, there are only a few dozen entrances. May I know which one Lin Gongzi came in from? This guy really wanted to get to the bottom of this. Lin Feng said, I came in from a certain forbidden zone. What? A forbidden zone? Sacred Wudi wasn't surprised either. Although they could enter the world where time was reversed, Sacred Wudi wasn't surprised. However, different entrances were different. Clearly, the controller of the life forbidden zone was the most extraordinary. Lin Feng replied, I only found out that it was the forbidden zone after I went there. That senior is the ruler of the forbidden zone. Hearing this, Saint Wudi was even more shocked. Lin Feng's background. It seemed to be even more frightening than he had imagined. Saint Wudi suppressed his shock. He was considering the authenticity of Lin Feng's words. Although Sacred Wudi felt that Lin Feng had an extraordinary background, Sacred Wudi believed that Lin Feng had an extraordinary background. However, some of the things that Lin Feng had said were too shocking. He needed to think about it carefully. At that moment, Lin Feng said, There's something I need to ask you, president. Sheng Wudi came back to his senses and said, "Please tell me. If I know, I'll tell you the truth." Lin Feng said, "It's like this. I have an elder who has entered the time reversal world, and I want to ask about him. What is the relationship between this senior and Lin Gongzi?" Saint Wudi asked. Lin Feng was speechless. Saint Wudi really wanted to get to the bottom of this. Moreover, he didn't seem embarrassed at all to ask such a private question. How thick-skinned. How thick-skinned. However, his relationship with the barbarians, it wasn't a secret. It wasn't something that couldn't be told. Since Saint Wudi wanted to know, he would just tell him. Lin Feng said, "This senior is my Tao protector." Saint Wudi said, "Please tell me what's so special about this Tao protector, young master." Lin Feng thought for a moment, then said, "He's tall and sturdy. Moreover, his hair is very long and messy. At first glance, one would think that he's a barbarian." "What? That person is Lin Gongzi's Tao protector?" Saint Wudi immediately stood up. His face was filled with disbelief. If that person was Lin Feng's Tao protector, everything that Lin Feng had said just now, Saint Wudi had 10 million reasons to believe it. That person was truly too terrifying. He had defeated all the heroes in the world. He seemed to be talking about a powerhouse like that person. "What? Do you know where he is?" Lin Feng's face couldn't help but reveal a look of joy. Senior Savage had something left behind by ancestor Lin Qi. Lin Feng had been waiting to see Master Savage for a long time. That way, he would be able to obtain those things. And now, it was as if he had seen hope of finding Senior Savage. "Of course I do. Everyone calls him Savage." Saint Wudi took a deep breath and calmed himself down before saying, "Yes, actually, he also calls himself Savage." Lin Feng smiled bitterly. Saint Wudi continued, "He went to the ancient tomb of immortals. It seems that he's looking for something." "Ancient tomb of immortals? What's that place?" Lin Feng asked curiously. Saint Wudi explained, "It's an absolute forbidden area, a place that no one can touch. Even saints don't dare to rashly enter. In short, it's extremely dangerous. It's located in the deepest part of the eastern region. Your Tao protector entered and seemed to have brought out something, but as for what it was, no one knows. When he came out, he was seriously injured. There are many spies from top-tier powers in that place. Soon, some top-tier powerhouses got wind of the news and came one after another. They're all saints. There are 12 of them in total. 5 of them are from the immemorial age, 3 from the chaotic age, 1 from the immortal age, 1 from the age of gods, 1 from the bronze age, and 1 from the immemorial age. They're all from the immemorial age, and 3 from the chaotic age. 1 from the immortal age, 1 from the age of gods, 1 from the bronze age, and 1 from the immemorial age. They're all from the immemorial age, and 1 from the age of gods. They're all from the bronze age, and 1 from the immemorial age." However, that battle exceeded everyone's expectations. Savage used the supreme technique of the human race, the 6 paths of reincarnation. 8 of the 12 saints were buried alive in the 6 paths of reincarnation. As for the other 4, they escaped with heavy injuries. After that, the savages left. After that, the eastern region was filled with all sorts of legends about the savages, said Lin Feng. And no one has ever seen a barbarian again. After hearing Saint Wudi's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel excited, but also worried. He was excited because Savage might have recovered his former strength. He was worried because Savage had been seriously injured after coming out of the ancient tomb of immortals. How was he doing now? Sogu. Chapter 5365. Are there really no clues at all? Lin Feng couldn't help but ask. He really wanted to find Senior Savage. However, Lin Feng knew that it wouldn't be easy to find Senior Savage in the boundless world of time reversal. Especially now. Lin Feng still didn't know where Senior Savage was. I really don't know. Maybe he's hiding somewhere to recover. Sheng Wudi said. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Sheng Wudi's words were quite plausible. Lin Feng said, I'll have to trouble you to help me find out more about Senior Savage. Sheng Wudi said, Of course. As long as there's any news, I'll definitely inform Lin Gongzi. Lin Feng then said, Since your Holy Heavens Trading Company is able to take out something like the angel wings, you should have some other treasures that can evolve bloodlines, right? Shang Wudi said, that's indeed the case. But the things needed to evolve bloodlines are different. What do you need, young master? You can tell us, and we'll help you gather them. Generally speaking, we should be able to gather all sorts of legendary treasures in this world of time reversal. Lin Feng was very happy to hear that. However, he wasn't too sure what exactly could evolve his sovereign bloodline, undying bloodline, and destiny bloodline. Lin Feng decided to ask the Demon Lord. Perhaps the Demon Lord would know something about this. Lin Feng transmitted his voice, Demon Lord, do you know what I need to awaken my 3 bloodlines? The Demon Lord thought for a moment, then said, you've already awakened your undying bloodline 4 times. The things you used to awaken your undying bloodline no longer have any effect, and treasures similar to those things won't have any effect either. Therefore, for the 5th awakening, you might be able to use the undying phoenix blood. Undying phoenix blood? Is that the undying phoenix's origin blood? Lin Feng asked curiously. The Demon Lord said, that's right. It's the undying phoenix's origin blood. It's extremely rare, but its effects are astonishing. It can awaken slumbering undying bloodlines. All right, Lin Feng nodded. The Demon Lord continued. For the 4th awakening, you can use a ruler's crystal. Ruler's crystal? What's that? Lin Feng asked curiously. The Demon Lord said, it's said to be an extremely precious treasure. That kind of treasure is condensed from the Tao of a ruler, and it can help you awaken your sovereign imperial bloodline. Of course, it's extremely difficult to find it, but the time reversal world is different from the outside world. Just as Saint Wudi said, they might have a way to find it. I hope so, Lin Feng said. The Demon Lord continued. The destiny bloodline is too mysterious. I don't know much about it, so I'm not sure what kind of treasure can be used to awaken it. However, I know of a treasure called the Ice of Destiny. It's a treasure that can greatly stimulate a person's bloodline. Through this stimulation, a person's bloodline will mutate. For example, some cultivators with mutated bloodlines can use treasures like this to trigger the mutation. Then I'll ask Shang Wudi if he can help me find these 3 treasures, Lin Feng said. Yao Jun didn't say anything else. The conversation with the Demon Lord had been through divine sense, so it seemed like it had taken a long time. But in reality, the conversation was over in the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint. Lin Feng looked at Shang Wudi and said, I need 3 things. The first is called the immortal phoenix blood, which is the origin blood of the immortal phoenix. The second is called the ruler's crystal. The third is called the ice of destiny. Can you help me find them? Shang Wudi said, I've heard of the immortal phoenix blood and ruler's crystal, but we don't have them in our store. I can help you ask around. As for the ice of destiny, this is the first time I've heard of it. Do you know what characteristics it has? Lin Feng transmitted to the Demon Lord, Demon Lord, what characteristics does the ice of destiny have? The Demon Lord said, it's an azure crystal that looks like a crystal. It's relatively small, about the size of a grain of rice. It's extremely cold, and it's surrounded by the power of destiny. It's extraordinary. Yes. Lin Feng relayed the Demon Lord's words to Shang Wudi. Shang Wudi said, all right, since we know some characteristics of the Ice of Destiny, it'll be much easier to find out more about it. Then we'll have to trouble you. We're staying at 317 Fairy Path. If you have any information, please send someone to inform us. Lin Feng said, no problem. Shang Wudi smiled. Lin Feng had no intention of staying here any longer. He left with Hongyu, and the others. Shang Wudi personally escorted Lin Feng out. Shang Wudi returned to the store and went to a room on the top floor. He knocked on the door and said respectfully, Holy Maiden, Shang Wudi requests an audience. Come in. A voice was heard. Shang Wudi pushed the door open and entered the room. There was a woman sitting in the room. She was none other than the Holy Maiden of the Sacred Heaven Immortal Tower, Xiaolingyu. Xiaolingyu said, it seems like you've gained quite a lot. Yes. Shang Wudi hurriedly said, that young man's background is extraordinary. He said that he entered the time-reversed world from the Forbidden Zone, and that the ruler of the Forbidden Zone was his father's subordinate in the past. He also asked for help in finding the whereabouts of the savage. He said that the savage was his Tao protector. Xiaolingyu stood up and looked out the window. She could see the backs of Lin Feng and the others as they left. Sheng Wudi glanced over as well. However, he didn't say anything else and instead waited for the holy maiden to speak. Xiaolingyu said, "I've seen him twice before, and he's indeed extraordinary." What else did he say? Sheng Wudi said, he said that he hopes that the Sacred Heaven Trading Company can help him find 3 things. According to what he said, those 3 things are items that can awaken bloodlines. What are those 3 things? Xiaolingyu asked. Sheng Wudi said, the first is the immortal phoenix blood, the second is the ruler's crystal, and the third is the ice of destiny. Xiaolingyu said, those 3 things are too extraordinary. Moreover, the words immortal, ruler, and fate have profound meanings. Help him find them. Xiaolingyu said, yes. Sheng Wudi nodded. Lin Feng naturally didn't know about the conversation between Xiaolingyu and Sheng Wudi. At that moment, Lin Feng and the others were heading towards their residence. At a street corner, a group of cultivators rushed over and surrounded Lin Feng and the others. Then, the group of cultivators parted, and a middle-aged cultivator walked in. When he saw the middle-aged cultivator, Lin Feng couldn't help but raise his eyebrows slightly. The middle-aged cultivator was none other than the person who had sold the fake medicine earlier. You've sold all the fake medicine? Lin Feng asked. The middle-aged cultivator replied, mine isn't fake medicine. At most, it's an imitation. Fake medicine is harmful to the body, but mine isn't. Should I praise you then? Lin Feng said sarcastically. The middle-aged man said, there's no need for that. I didn't come here to cause trouble for you. My target is this girl, and it has nothing to do with you. Let me take her away and play with her for 3 days. I'll let bygones be bygones. End of chapter. Chapter 5366. When Lin Feng heard that guy, he couldn't help but roll his eyes. Where did that guy get the courage to come here and talk like that? Was it because he had the advantage in numbers? From Lin Feng's point of view, Hong Yuer was already his. This guy actually wanted to get his hands on Hong Yuer. He really didn't know what was good for him. Lin Feng didn't say anything. He just threw a punch at the guy's face. Lin Feng's sudden attack had caught the guy off guard. The middle-aged man's face turned extremely ugly. He wanted to dodge Lin Feng's punch. However, he realized that no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't dodge the punch. Bang! A dull sound of collision was heard. Lin Feng's punch had landed on the guy's hateful face. His face was almost flattened by Lin Feng's punch. His body was sent flying. His nose was broken, and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. He didn't know how many teeth he had lost. You sneak attacked me. You're despicable. The middle-aged man roared furiously. When had he ever suffered such a big loss? Therefore, at this moment, his eyes were filled with hatred. If looks could kill, Lin Feng would have been killed countless times by this guy's gaze. Lin Feng said, you're the one who moved as slow as a pig. How can you blame others for sneak attacking you? After hearing Lin Feng's mocking words, the middle-aged man became even more furious. The middle-aged man was furious. He looked at Lin Feng with murder in his eyes. He took the opportunity to shout, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and capture this guy. I want to show him how I deal with his woman. Yes. More than 20 guards responded. Then, they pounced on Lin Feng like wolves and tigers. We'll help you. Hong Yuer said, it's just a motley crew. I can easily deal with them alone. After Lin Feng finished speaking, Lin Feng pushed his palm forward. All of a sudden, a terrifying force burst out. That terrifying power blasted towards the group of cultivators charging towards Lin Feng. Bang, bang, bang. Along with the sounds of violent collisions, there was a loud bang. One cultivator after another. They were all sent flying. Wow, wow, wow. Those cultivators spat out mouthfuls of blood and fell to the ground, already unconscious. Seeing that, the middle-aged cultivator's face turned pale. He didn't expect a young cultivator like Lin Feng to be so powerful. Even Hong Yuer and the others were dumbfounded. Some of the cultivators who were sent flying by Lin Feng were at the quasi-gold immortal stage. Even if she made a move, She would not be able to defeat so many experts in such a short time. However, Lin Feng did it. It was practically an instant kill. Previously, Hong Yu, and the others had always thought that Lin Feng relied on some magic treasures to fight. His own strength was not strong, but only now did Hong Yu, and the others realize how wrong they were. Lin Feng's strength was actually extremely terrifying. It was just that Lin Feng was too young. Lin Feng's age made people involuntarily overlook his powerful combat strength. Lin Feng's age made it easy for people to look down on him. The middle-aged man got up and wanted to escape, but Lin Feng restrained him. Lin Feng said, "You want to run now? Where's that arrogant and despotic attitude from before?" The middle-aged man's face was incomparably gloomy. He said, "Kid, let me tell you this. I have the Sacred Hall Alliance behind me. If you dare to do anything too outrageous to me, you will not have a good ending." Lin Feng did not know what kind of power the Sacred Hall Alliance was. Lin Feng had only been in the time reversal world for a short time, so he did not know much about the various powers in this world. At present, he had only heard of the Sacred Heaven Immortal Tower and a few other top powers. Lin Feng looked at Hong Yuer and asked, "What kind of power is the Sacred Hall Alliance?" Hong Yuer's expression was more serious. She said, "The Sacred Hall Alliance is a power formed by a group of top loose cultivators. There are people from all walks of life in this power. Aside from the Sacred Heaven Immortal Tower and a few other top powers, the Sacred Hall Alliance should be one of the top powers. No one dares to provoke this power." No wonder Hong Yuer's expression was so serious. This Sacred Hall Alliance was indeed an extraordinary power. Moreover, this kind of power would definitely have a Sage Realm expert overseeing it. But so what? If they offended him, who cared if they had a Sage Realm expert overseeing it? At this moment, the middle-aged man said somewhat proudly, "Brat, you don't even know what kind of power our Sacred Hall Alliance is. Are you new here? Now that you know what kind of power the Sacred Hall Alliance is, you must be afraid. If you are, then hurry up and let this woman serve me well. That way, I can't forgive you." "Idiot!" Lin Feng laughed coldly, then waved his right hand. A cold light flew towards the middle-aged cultivator. Pooh! The sound of something being torn apart and the middle-aged cultivator's miserable shriek could be heard. The middle-aged cultivator fell to the ground on his back. His body fell to the ground, then started to convulse violently. Lin Feng's attack just now had directly crippled this guy. From now on, this world had one less man. One more eunuch. One could imagine. A man. Suddenly, he had become a eunuch. This was such a painful thing that he wished he was dead. No matter who it was, after experiencing something like this, they would probably feel even worse than death. The surrounding cultivators who were watching the show could not help but feel a chill in their pants. They couldn't help but tighten their legs. They looked at Lin Feng with a trace of fear in their eyes. In their eyes, Lin Feng was simply too cruel. Turning someone into a eunuch was truly a demonic act. "I won't let you go. I definitely won't let you go." The middle-aged man spasmed and roared angrily, his eyes filled with hatred and dense killing intent. "Won't let me go? All right, I'll make it up to you." Yi Xian laughed coldly. A sword chi slashed out, instantly destroying the middle-aged man's dantian. Not only did the middle-aged man become a eunuch, he also became a cripple. From now on, he could forget about cultivating. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? Brat, you are so ruthless. I won't rest until you die. The middle-aged man cursed venomously. You are just a cripple. Do you have the right to say things like, "I won't rest until you die"? Lin Feng couldn't help but curl his lips and say, "Killing someone's heart." When the middle-aged man heard Lin Feng's words, he was deeply provoked. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and fainted. Sogu's website. Chapter 5367. Lin Feng walked forward and took the middle-aged cultivator's storage ring. Lin Feng remembered that this guy had a real core formation immortal medicine here. Other than the core formation immortal medicine, this guy had sold so many fake medicines. Who knew how many immortal stones he had sold? And those immortal stones were now Lin Feng's. F***CK. After turning him into a eunuch, he crippled him and even robbed him clean. Even a demon isn't as ruthless as this kid. Some of the cultivators in the surroundings whispered, "Shh, don't speak nonsense. If that guy hears it and bears a grudge, it will be troublesome." Another cultivator said. The cultivator who had just spoken turned pale with fright. Lin Feng naturally didn't have the mood to care about those people. He looked at Hong Yu, and the others and said, "Let's go." Hong Yu, and the others nodded and followed Lin Feng back to their residence. Lin Feng returned to his room and took out the middle-aged man's storage ring. His spiritual sense invaded the storage ring and Lin Feng was shocked. There were simply too many high-grade immortal stones in the storage ring. Lin Feng sensed it with his spiritual sense and found that there were about 50 billion high-grade immortal stones in total. Lin Feng remembered that this guy had sold those fake medicines for 5 million high-grade immortal stones each. If he wanted to gather 50 billion immortal stones, he would have to sell about 10,000 fake core formation immortal medicines. Of course, Lin Feng guessed that this guy had been to many ancient cities. If it was just one ancient city, it shouldn't be able to sell so many fake core formation immortal medicines. Now, all the immortal stones from selling fake medicines belonged to him. Yixian had a lot of immortal stones, but most of them were ordinary immortal stones and mid-grade immortal stones. It was only 10 billion high-grade immortal stones. With 50 billion high-grade immortal stones, Lin Feng immediately became rich. Hong Yu was in seclusion and would probably need some time. After all, bloodline evolution wasn't easy. Moreover, it was very likely that her bloodline would continue to evolve, which made it even more difficult. To Hong Yu, this was not a small lucky chance. She was now in the golden immortal realm. After her bloodline evolved, all her abilities would be greatly improved. Perhaps it wouldn't take long for him to become a sage immortal. She was a female saint immortal, a top-grade beauty, and a top-grade alchemist. Other than the word goddess, was there any other word to describe the peerless beauty of Hong Yu? Everyone was cultivating. Lin Feng, on the other hand, wanted to have a good rest. It was rare to find such a good opportunity. Completely relaxing was also beneficial to one's cultivation. At night, a silhouette silently appeared in front of Lin Feng's residence. She was dressed in black, and her appearance couldn't be seen clearly. That black figure quickly rushed towards Lin Feng's bed, wanting to quickly subdue Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng woke up and struck twice on the black figure's body. The black figure's Rendu and Du meridians were sealed by Lin Feng, and the magic power in his body couldn't be circulated. Now, he was no longer a threat. Lin Feng grabbed the black figure's jade-like hand and pulled him onto the bed. Then, he tore off the person's veil. A face that could be broken by the wind appeared in Lin Feng's line of sight. Sun Yuxue. It was actually this woman. In truth, Lin Feng had already woken up when Sun Yuxue appeared, and he knew that this person was Sun Yuxue. This was because Lin Feng remembered what Sun Yushue's aura was like. Even if he couldn't see her face clearly, he could still sense her aura. In truth, even if he couldn't sense that this person was Sun Yuxue, Lin Feng could still tell that this person was Sun Yuxue. This was because Sun Yushue's body emitted a unique fragrance. Although Lin Feng didn't like Sun Yushue's personality, he had to admit that she was indeed a top-grade beauty. Not all top-grade beauties emitted fragrances. However, those who emitted fragrances were mostly top-grade beauties. "Let go of me." Sun Yuxue couldn't help but struggle in Lin Feng's arms. Lin Feng smiled faintly. "Who gave you the courage to sneak up on me in the middle of the night?" Sun Yuxue said hatefully, "You made me lose face today, so I'll teach you a good lesson." Lin Feng said, "You asked for it, so how can you blame it on others? Could it be that a woman's heart was as big as a needle's eye? I really can't understand why you're still holding a grudge over what happened between you and Hong Yu. Women are jealous creatures. That's an eternal saying." Sun Yuxue said coldly, "How am I any worse than Hong Yu? But why is it that she's always the center of attention, while I'm always ignored? I can't accept it. I've been unwilling to accept it since I was a young girl. When I saw her fall, I was so happy. Why is it that when I thought she was about to hit rock bottom, she suddenly soared up and became a phoenix? Why is fate so unfair?" Lin Feng said, "Come on, you really don't have the right to say that fate is unfair to Hong Yu. She should be the one lamenting that fate is unfair. People live for themselves, not for others." Do you think Hong Yu likes the feeling of being the center of attention? She doesn't like it, because you're the center of attention. You know Hong Yu's fate. She's even become a tool for marriage. Why aren't you lamenting that fate is unfair now? As for you, you're the disciple of a sage, and countless geniuses are chasing after you. Your life is already extremely enviable. This is your life. You have your life, and Hong Yu has her own life. Sun Yushua's face was cold. She didn't say anything. Lin Feng didn't know what this woman was thinking. Of course, Lin Feng didn't care. Lin Feng was currently considering how to deal with Sun Yushua. She had disturbed his rest. Was he going to let her go just like that? Wouldn't that be letting her off too easily? I'll think about what you said. Can you let me go now? Sun Yushua said. Lin Feng smiled and said, You're now my prisoner. Why should I let you go? What are you trying to do? Sun Yushua looked at Lin Feng with some fear. Only now did she remember that she was a peerless beauty who had caused countless geniuses to bow down to her. If she fell into Lin Feng's hands, what if Lin Feng had evil intentions? Wouldn't she be in a miserable state? Sogu. Chapter 5368. Said Lin Feng, smiling at Sun Yushua. He kept glancing at Sun Yushua from head to toe. Sun Yushua's heart sank to the bottom of the valley. Sun Yushua said somewhat anxiously, You're Hong-Yu's man. So, don't do anything that would let Hong-Yu down. Lin Feng said, What have I done to let Hong-Yu down? You know what I'm trying to say. Sun Yushua said. Lin Feng said, Are you saying that I have improper thoughts about you? You don't have to worry about that. I have Hong-Yu, so I naturally wouldn't fancy you. So, I won't have any improper thoughts about you. After hearing Lin Feng's words, Sun Yushua exploded with anger. She was indeed worried that Lin Feng would bully her. However, Lin Feng actually said that he had Hong-Yu, so he wouldn't fancy her at all. How could Sun Yushua endure this anger? Moreover, Sun Yushua didn't even hear what Lin Feng had said to her before. Because she was a woman, and women were unreasonable when it came to doing things. Envy and jealousy were also unreasonable. Lin Feng had compared her to Hong-Yu. He had even said that she was useless. This was what Sun Yushua couldn't tolerate the most. Are you blind? How am I not comparable to Hong-Yu? I have the figure and the face. I'm not inferior to Hong-Yu. Sun Yushua said angrily. Her beautiful eyes looked as if they were about to spit fire at this moment. Lin Feng said, Yes, yes, yes. You're not inferior to Hong-Yu, okay? You're going against your heart. Sun Yushua said coldly. I'm telling the truth. You're much better than Hong-Yu. Lin Feng said, Do you really think so? Sun Yushua looked at Lin Feng suspiciously. According to her understanding of Lin Feng shouldn't say such words. However, Lin Feng actually said such words, which made Sun Yushua very confused. She didn't know if Lin Feng's words were sincere or not. Lin Feng said, Of course I think so. Your vanity is much stronger than Hong-Yu's. Am I wrong? I'll kill you. Sun Yushua couldn't take it anymore. She directly used her invincible claw technique on Lin Feng. Sun Yushua grabbed Lin Feng's face, but Lin Feng grabbed her wrist. Lin Feng said, Woman, do you really want me to teach you a lesson so that you will behave? Humph! Sun Yushua snorted and turned her face away, ignoring Lin Feng. How do you think I should punish you? How worrisome. Why don't you be my maid for a few days? Lin Feng said with a smile. Sun Yushua was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. She said, Kill me. If you don't want to be my maid, don't tell me you want to be my concubine. I didn't expect you to be so infatuated with me. So your goal tonight was to deliver yourself to me. Now I know what you're thinking. Lin Feng said, You're shameless. Sun Yushua thought for a long time, but the only word she could think of was shameless. Lin Feng said, Thank you for the compliment. Before Sun Yushua could say anything, Lin Feng continued, Originally, I didn't like you, but as the saying goes, when a man pursues a woman, there's a mountain between them, and when a woman pursues a man, there's a piece of paper between them. Since you've taken the initiative to throw yourself at me, I'll reluctantly accept you. I'll make you my bride tonight. No, you can't do this. Sun Yushua was so scared that her face turned pale, and tears appeared in her eyes. It seemed that this little girl was indeed frightened. Lin Feng patted her beautiful face and said, "Don't cry. I was just joking with you. You really took it seriously. All right, you can leave now." Lin Feng let go of Sun Yuxue, lay down on the bed, and closed his eyes. Sun Yuxue couldn't believe her eyes when she saw Lin Feng lying beside her. Lin Feng had actually let her go. "You're really letting me go?" Sun Yuxue asked. "It's fake. If you really dare to leave, I'll immediately catch you and punish you." Lin Feng said. "I knew it. You're a liar. I knew it. You're not that magnanimous." Sun Yuxue gritted her teeth and said, "Damn, this woman really has big breasts and no brains." Lin Feng was immediately speechless. She couldn't even tell the truth from a lie. What was wrong with her brain? Yes, yes, yes. I'm a liar. I'm not open-minded enough. Now, I'm going to hug you to sleep, Lin Feng said, pretending to hug Sun Yuxue in his arms. Sun Yuxue was so scared that she quickly jumped off the bed. Then, she stood in the room and looked at Lin Feng vigilantly. Lin Feng ignored Sun Yuxue. He closed his eyes and rested. "I'm leaving," Sun Yuxue said. Lin Feng ignored Sun Yuxue. "I'm really leaving," Sun Yuxue continued. Lin Feng still ignored Sun Yuxue. "If you don't say anything, then I'm really leaving," Sun Yuxue said again. Lin Feng directly turned over. Sun Yuxue couldn't help but mutter. She didn't know if Lin Feng would really let her go. Sun Yuxue decided to give it a try. She didn't want to stay here and become Lin Feng's servant or concubine, because she felt that if she really did that, it would make her lose face in front of Hong Yuer. Sun Yuxue teleported through the void and left. Lin Feng didn't stop her. Sun Yuxue came to the outside of the house. Then, she couldn't help but mutter, "This guy actually let me go? Umph, you keep your word." Sun Yuxue then sighed. She suddenly felt Lin Feng seemed to be a good person, although she didn't know why she had such a feeling. But this time, she was really envious of Hong Yuer. Time passed. Lin Feng was waiting for news from the Xingtian Trading Company. He didn't know if the Xingtian Trading Company had found what he wanted. As for Hong Yuer, she was still in seclusion. It would take some time for her to come out. Lin Feng found the middle-aged man. He paid another 2 months' rent. After waiting for 5 days, news finally came from the Xingtian Trading Company. An elder of the Xingtian Trading Company personally came to Lin Feng's place and invited Lin Feng to the Xingtian Trading Company. "Did you find what I wanted?" Lin Feng asked. He was a little excited now, because once he found what he wanted, he could try to evolve his bloodline. Lin Feng was thinking about this even in his dreams. The elder said, "Lin Gongzi, I'm not particularly clear about the specific situation. You'll know when you see Lord Shangwudi at the trading company." Lin Feng nodded. He suppressed the excitement in his heart and rode the beast carriage with the elder towards the Xingtian Trading Company. Sogu's website. Chapter 5369. After arriving at the Sagely Trading Company, Lin Feng met Shangwudi. Both the host and the guest were seated. Lin Feng asked, "I wonder if there's any progress on what I want? We've already found the undying phoenix blood and ruler's crystal, but we haven't found the destiny ice. However, we've made some progress, but we'll have to wait for some time." When Lin Feng heard Shangwudi, he was overjoyed. He asked, "How many immortal stones are needed for the undying phoenix blood and ruler's crystal?" The other party wanted 5 billion high-tier immortal stones for the undying phoenix blood, but in the end, we reached a price of 4.2 billion high-tier immortal stones. As for the ruler's crystal, the other party wanted 6 billion high-tier immortal stones. After some bargaining, the price was set at 5 billion high-tier immortal stones. Shangwudi explained. Lin Feng was speechless when he heard the price. The price was simply too high. However, the items were indeed worth the price. After all, they were simply too rare. Most likely, they could only be found in a time-reversed world. They couldn't be found in the outside world. Thus, even if one had the money, they wouldn't be able to buy them in the outside world. Lin Feng said, "All right, I'll hand the immortal stones over to you now. Please help me buy them." Shangwudi said, "We've already bought them in advance." Shangwudi took out the items as he spoke. The undying phoenix blood was sealed in a porcelain bottle. As for the ruler's crystal, it was placed in a white jade box. Shang Wudi was a very generous person, so he'd bought them in advance. There was no need for Lin Feng to make an extra trip. There was a risk involved. After all, what if Lin Feng didn't want them? They might end up with the items. Although the items were precious, however, for those who didn't need them, this thing has no value at all. Thus, if they couldn't sell them, they wouldn't be able to produce any value. For those who could use them, they were priceless treasures. The way you handle things is truly admirable. Lin Feng smiled as he took out 2 billion high-tier immortal stones. Lin Feng sealed the high-tier immortal stones. Saint Wudi put away the high-grade immortal stones. Lin Feng inspected the items and found that there was nothing wrong with them. He couldn't help but smile. Lin Feng didn't plan to stay any longer. He was in a hurry to refine the immortal phoenix blood and the sovereign's crystal. Lin Feng stood up and said, "I'll have to trouble you to follow up on the ice of fate. I won't disturb you any longer, so I'll take my leave now." "All right, I'll send you off." Saint Wudi smiled. The reason why he was so enthusiastic towards Lin Feng was because of Lin Feng. It wasn't just because of Lin Feng's powerful background. There was another important reason, and that was Lin Feng himself was young and had a strong cultivation base. In the future, he would definitely become a top-notch expert. Being on good terms with such a young expert would naturally only bring benefits and no disadvantages. Saint Wudi personally sent Lin Feng off, which attracted the attention of many customers. The dignified Saint Heaven Trading Company's president actually personally sent a young cultivator off. It was indeed unimaginable. Hence, many people were guessing Lin Feng's identity. Saint Wudi originally wanted to send Lin Feng back with a beast carriage, but Lin Feng rejected it. Lin Feng preferred to walk back alone. It was rather comfortable and pleasant to feel the aura of the mortal world outside. After returning to his residence, Lin Feng went into seclusion. He entered time and space to cultivate. Lin Feng planned to refine the immortal phoenix blood first. Then, he would refine the sovereign's crystal. Now, Lin Feng had already awakened 3 bloodlines. Lin Feng's immortal bloodline had evolved 4 times. Lin Feng's sovereign's bloodline had evolved 3 times. Lin Feng's destiny's bloodline had evolved 2 times. The abilities obtained from the 4 evolutions were: the first evolution was the bloodline awakening. The second evolution was the awakening of the ancestral power in the bloodline. The ancestral power in the bloodline condensed into the golden dwarf. Now, the golden dwarf played an extremely important role in improving Lin Feng's combat strength. During the third evolution, Lin Feng obtained the ability of Nirvana Rebirth. This ability was extremely terrifying. Lin Feng had almost died several times. But in the end, it was the ability of Nirvana Rebirth that brought Lin Feng back to life. During the fourth evolution, Lin Feng mastered the ability, Samsara of Life and Death. It was rumored that this ability not only had unimaginable offensive power. In fact, he could even fight for a chance of survival for those who had died, and then awaken the dead. It could give them new life. Of course, Lin Feng wasn't particularly sure if the rumors were true. At present, Lin Feng couldn't do this. However, the samsara of life and death was indeed very powerful. What kind of ability would the immortal bloodline obtain after the fifth evolution? Lin Feng was looking forward to it. After Lin Feng took out the immortal phoenix blood, he began to refine the immortal phoenix blood. As the immortal phoenix blood was refined by Lin Feng felt the pure energy of the immortal phoenix blood began to be absorbed by the immortal bloodline. Lin Feng's immortal bloodline was completely awakened. With the help of that special energy, Lin Feng's immortal bloodline began to evolve to a higher level. Time passed. Lin Feng's immortal bloodline was getting stronger and stronger. To Lin Feng's surprise, when the bloodline evolved, Lin Feng felt that his realm was also becoming restless. This was really a joyous event. Lin Feng was still worried about breaking through to the celestial immortal realm. But now it seemed that the bloodline evolution might be able to help him complete the breakthrough. However, Lin Feng found that when the immortal bloodline was about to evolve, the tribulation light between his eyebrows flickered. But there was still a certain gap to break through to the celestial immortal realm. It seemed now was not the time to break through. Finally, Lin Feng's immortal bloodline completed its fifth evolution. After the fifth evolution, Lin Feng could clearly feel that his immortal bloodline had become stronger and more terrifying. In addition, the immortal bloodline had awakened a new ability, Ancestor Summoning. Lin Feng sensed the ability that he had just obtained. His face revealed an astonished expression. Ancestor Summoning was a rather special ability. First, Lin Feng could summon several special imprints. For example, Lin Feng summoned a Guardian Imprint. This Guardian Imprint could help Lin Feng resist all kinds of external attacks. For example, Lin Feng could also summon an Attack Imprint. This Attack Imprint could release a powerful divine ability to kill the enemy. After summoning the two imprints, he consumed them. Lin Feng could then summon an Ancestor Shadow to fight the enemy. This Ancestor Shadow was completely different from the Ancestor Shadow manifested by divine ability. No matter how powerful the Ancestor Shadow manifested by divine ability was, there was a limit. It could not surpass the peak battle power of the Cultivator. But the Ancestor Shadow that Lin Feng summoned after the Fifth Awakening could continuously increase the battle power of the Ancestor Shadow according to the number of Guardian Imprints and Attack Imprints that Lin Feng summoned. This Guardian Imprint could be summoned at most 10 times. If 10 Guardian Imprints were used, the Ancestor Shadow's battle power would be 5 to 6 times that of Lin Feng's peak battle power. From this, it could be seen how terrifying this ability was. End of chapter. Chapter 5370. In fact, Lin Feng had seen similar abilities before. For example, Situ Tianai had a similar ability. However, his ability was far inferior to Lin Feng's. This was mainly due to his bloodline. Lin Feng's bloodline was simply too powerful. Thus, his various abilities were extremely terrifying. After the fifth evolution of his undying bloodline, Lin Feng could finally breathe a sigh of relief. However, Lin Feng didn't become complacent just because his undying bloodline had evolved for the fifth time. He still had a long way to go. After resting for a while, Lin Feng began to refine the Ruler's Crystal. The abilities of Lin Feng's Ruler's bloodline after its third evolution were: First evolution, Bloodline Awakening. Second evolution, Ruler's Blade. Third evolution, Mysterious Tao Palace. Actually, regarding the Mysterious Tao Palace, Lin Feng was still somewhat puzzled. He didn't know what secrets the Mysterious Tao Palace was hiding. Even now, Lin Feng still couldn't find out the secrets of the Mysterious Tao Palace. Because the Mysterious Tao Palace was simply too strange. It blocked Lin Feng's probing. Perhaps it was because his cultivation wasn't high enough that he couldn't probe it. Only when his cultivation reached a certain level would he be able to probe the Mysterious Tao Palace. What was the fourth ability? Lin Feng was very much looking forward to it. After all, the ruler's imperial bloodline was so powerful. The ruler's crystal gradually dissolved. After the ruler's crystal dissolved, it turned into pure energy that was completely absorbed by Lin Feng. Lin Feng's ruler's bloodline also began to evolve. Lin Feng's ruler's bloodline was extremely powerful. This bloodline was simply capable of destroying the heavens and earth. It was one of the most powerful bloodlines in history. When the ruler's bloodline evolved, Lin Feng could feel the berserk power emanating from it. This berserk power was simply too shocking. Perhaps, when the ruler's bloodline evolved for the fourth time, its awakened abilities would be extremely shocking. Time slowly passed. The ruler's bloodline's evolution took a bit longer than the undying bloodlines. As the ruler's bloodline evolved, the light of calamity between Lin Feng's eyebrows grew stronger and stronger. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. This was because Lin Feng felt that he would be able to attempt to charge into the heavenly immortal stage soon. It was a pity. The light of calamity between Lin Feng's eyebrows did not continue to strengthen. Lin Feng might really be able to directly charge into the heavenly immortal realm. Lin Feng knew that there was still a gap, but it wasn't too big. When the Destiny bloodline evolved for the third time, Lin Feng felt that it should be enough. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Feng's body emitted a series of loud noises. That sound, it was simply earth-shaking. The Sovereign Emperor bloodline was simply too domineering. When the Sovereign Emperor bloodline evolved, the commotion it caused was simply too shocking. The void seemed to be on the verge of shattering. Such a commotion was truly shocking. Lin Feng's sovereign bloodline had completed its fourth evolution. After the evolution, the sovereign bloodline had become even more powerful. Ha 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 ha, the sovereign bloodline has finally finished evolving. A look of joy appeared on Lin Feng's face. Lin Feng sensed the ability he had gained after the evolution. Lin Feng discovered, to his astonishment, that a mysterious figure had appeared within his bloodline. When Lin Feng connected with the mysterious silhouette, Lin Feng's expression changed. A deep voice rang out in Lin Feng's mind. 3,000 soul refining art. That voice only said 5 words. Next, a ball of information. It poured into Lin Feng's mind. That ball of information. It contained the cultivation method of the 3,000 soul refining art, as well as the corresponding introduction. The 3,000 soul refining art was the human race's most powerful soul-type offensive divine ability. When this offensive divine ability was used, it was said to be able to refine the souls of 3,000 sovereigns to death. From this, one could see how domineering the 3,000 soul refining art was. Of course, that wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was, the 3,000 soul refining art was only the key to activating that mysterious figure. Lin Feng didn't know what that mysterious figure was, but Lin Feng felt that it wasn't something like the ancestor's figure. As for what it was, he could observe it further after he successfully cultivated the 3,000 soul refining art. Lin Feng had a strong feeling that when he had mastered the 3,000 soul enhancement formula, he had been able to communicate with the illusionary figure. Something unexpected might happen. Of course, this was only Lin Feng's intuition. As for whether or not such a thing would happen, Lin Feng wasn't particularly sure. He would only be able to find out when the time came. The undying bloodline. The sovereign bloodline's complete evolution made Lin Feng extremely happy. After Lin Feng familiarized himself with it for a while, he completely grasped the undying bloodline's power after the sovereign bloodline's evolution. At the same time, Lin Feng tried to cultivate the 3,000 soul refining art. Lin Feng discovered that the 3,000 soul refining art was an extremely difficult divine ability to cultivate. Even with his comprehension ability, in a short period of time, he still couldn't comprehend this divine ability. It seemed that he would need some time to cultivate the 3,000 soul refining art. After Lin Feng came out of seclusion, he learned that Hong Yu-er had already come out. Lin Feng went to look for her. When he arrived outside her room, Lin Feng knocked on the door. She opened the door and saw Lin Feng standing outside. She was pleasantly surprised. "You've come out. How was your harvest?" she asked. Lin Feng entered the room and closed the door behind him. Of course, this didn't escape Hong Yu-er's notice. Everything was seen by Hong Yu-er. However, she didn't say anything. She only blushed a little. Lin Feng said, "My harvest wasn't bad. How was your seclusion?" Hong Yu-er said excitedly, "The results were excellent. My bloodline evolved twice in a row, and it's still a bit away from the third evolution. Otherwise, it might have evolved 3 times in a row." "That's great." Lin Feng was happy for Hong Yu-er as well. Hong Yu-er said, "It's all thanks to you. If you hadn't helped me, I wouldn't have been able to improve so much." Lin Feng stretched out his hand and hugged Hong Yu-er's waist. Hong Yu-er's face turned even redder. Lin Feng said, "What I did for you is what I should do, so there's no need to thank me." "Okay." Hong Yu-er nodded, still blushing. Over the next few days, Lin Feng continued to wait for news from Sheng Wudi. He waited for about a week. Sheng Wudi sent someone to inform Lin Feng, telling him to go to the Sagely Trading Company. It was the same elder who had come to fetch Lin Feng. Lin Feng was delighted when he heard the news. Sheng Wudi had probably found the ice of destiny that he needed. It seemed that he could finally awaken his destiny bloodline for the 3rd time. Sogu. Chapter 5371. Lin Feng went to the Sagely Trading Company once more and met with Sacred Wudi. "Lin Gongzi, we've already met the owner of the Chill of Destiny, but he doesn't need high-grade immortal stones. He needs something else, so we can't make a decision. We've invited Lin Gongzi over." Sacred Wudi explained. "Oh, what does he want?" Lin Feng asked curiously. Sheng Wudi replied, "He wants an immortal sutra." Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. The chill of destiny was precious. However, it was still somewhat lacking if he wanted to trade it for an immortal scripture. Lin Feng asked, "Where is that person now?" "He's already here." Lin Feng couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. The fact that the other party had come to the trading company meant that he had plans to make a deal. Now, it was time to discuss the details of the deal. Now that he knew the other party's intentions, Sacred Woody decided to make a deal. Things would be much easier now. Lin Feng asked, "Can you introduce me to that person?" "No problem," Sacred Woody replied. Under Sacred Woody's guidance, Lin Feng met the cultivator who had the chill of destiny. It was an old man. His aura was deep and terrifying. When he saw the old man, Lin Feng's heart trembled slightly. Lin Feng had a feeling that the old man was very likely a sage. After arriving in the time-reversed world, Lin Feng had learned that there were sage experts here. However, Lin Feng had never come into contact with such an expert before. This was the first time he had come into contact with a Saint Realm expert. When he saw Lin Feng, the old man was clearly very surprised. Perhaps he hadn't expected Lin Feng to be so young. However, the old man didn't say anything. He was very experienced and knowledgeable, so he didn't look down on Lin Feng just because of his young appearance. Sacred Woody smiled and said, "Senior Sima, this is Lin Feng, Lin Gongzi." Sacred Woody then introduced Lin Feng. "Lin Gongzi, this is the Senior Sima I mentioned to you on the way here." Sacred Woody had just briefly introduced this expert to Lin Feng. This expert was called Sima Ziwu. He was a famous wandering cultivator in the eastern region of the time-reversed world. He was definitely one of the top 10 wandering cultivators. "Senior Sima, this junior has known you for a long time." Lin cupped his fists and smiled. Of course, Lin Feng was also very talkative. For example, what he had said to Sima Ziwu was just a bunch of nonsense. Before that, Lin Feng didn't know who Sima Ziwu was. Sacred Woody naturally knew that Lin Feng was speaking nonsense, but he didn't expose Lin Feng. The only one who didn't know that Lin Feng was speaking nonsense was Sima Ziwu. Sima Ziwu was quite pleased to hear Lin Feng's flattery. Although he was very strong, he couldn't help but be a little vain. Sima Ziwu smiled and said, "Young friend, there's no need to be so polite." Both of them sat down. Sima Ziwu looked at Lin Feng and said, "I heard that young friend wants the Destiny Ice. I obtained a piece of it in the time-reversed world a few years ago, and I've kept it ever since. Young friend, you should know how precious it is. If you want it, you'll need to exchange it with an immortal scripture. I believe that this request isn't too much, right?" Lin Feng said, "Of course not. I feel like I've profited from exchanging an immortal scripture for the Destiny Ice." When Sima Ziwu heard that, he smiled. He thought that Lin Feng was a good person. However, at that moment, Lin Feng continued, "However, there's something that's making things very difficult for me." "What's making things difficult for you?" Sima Ziwu couldn't help but ask. Lin Feng sighed and said, "I don't have an immortal scripture." Sima Ziwu was slightly taken aback, but then he sneered. He didn't believe Lin Feng at all. He knew that Lin Feng was just building momentum for the negotiation. "If you don't have an immortal scripture, then we can't continue this business discussion," Sima Ziwu said. Lin Feng said, "Senior, don't be in such a hurry. What else do you want to say?" Sima Ziwu asked. Lin Feng said, "Although I don't have an immortal scripture, I know a few powerful divine abilities, such as the Tao of Space. How about I exchange my Tao of Space with you?" Sima Ziwu said, "Ordinary Tao of Space won't catch my eye. What if it's the Tao of Space left behind by the first god of space?" Lin Feng asked with a smile. Sima Ziwu's eyes narrowed slightly, and he asked, "Are you serious?" "Of course." Lin Feng smiled. Then, he took out a jade tube. Lin Feng inserted dozens of runes into the jade tube. The runes contained information about the Tao of Space. Actually, the Tao of Space Lin Feng inserted into the jade tube was very different from the Tao of Space that Lin Feng cultivated. For example, a cultivator could create many different divine abilities in their lifetime. However, there was a divine ability that was a core divine ability, and it was also the strongest divine ability. The god of space was the same. The first god of space had created a core Tao, which was the Tao that Lin Feng cultivated. He had also created many other Taos. In fact, When the first god of space was researching the Tao of space, he tried to create new Tao of space from various aspects to increase the power of the core Tao. Therefore, the Tao of space was divided into many types. The core Tao of space was the Tao of space that Lin Feng cultivated. Other than that, there were many other branches. Although these branches were also created by the first god of space, however, the difference between them and the core Tao of space that Lin Feng cultivated was too great. Lin Feng basically disdained cultivating. However, this kind of Tao of space was definitely very attractive to others. Lin Feng said, "The Tao of space created by the first god of space is inside. Senior, you can take a look. If you think it's okay, we can proceed with the transaction." Okay. Sima Ziwu didn't have any objections to Lin Feng's words. He took the jade tube that Lin Feng handed to him and carefully sensed it. His eyes became brighter and brighter. Although Lin Feng didn't give him an immortal scripture, the Tao of space passed down by the god of space was still very beneficial for cultivators. The ice of fate is sealed inside. Sima Ziwu took out a palm-sized cauldron. After the cauldron was taken out, it immediately emitted a cold aura. The surrounding temperature seemed to drop by 10,000 degrees in an instant. However, Lin Feng discovered that his bloodline of fate was quickly circulating. Sogu's website. Chapter 5372. Lin Feng's face lit up. Previously, the Demon Lord had only guessed that the Ice of Destiny could help the Destiny bloodline evolve. The Demon Lord couldn't confirm whether his guess was correct or not. But now, Lin Feng knew that the Demon Lord's guess was correct. The Ice of Destiny could indeed help the Destiny bloodline evolve. Or else, his Destiny bloodline wouldn't be able to operate so quickly. Lin Feng put away the cauldron. He said, "Thank you for the Ice of Destiny, Senior. Ha 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 ha, we're just taking what we need." Sima Ziwu said with a big laugh. He was clearly in a good mood. "If you encounter any trouble in the future, just mention my name, and no one will make things difficult for you." Sima Ziwu stood up and said to Lin Feng, "Thank you for your care, Senior." Lin Feng thanked Sima Ziwu again. This was a matter of face, so he naturally had to do it properly. As for what Sima Ziwu had said, Lin Feng didn't take it to heart. Because, if he really encountered a crisis that couldn't be resolved, even if Sima Ziwu came personally, it might not be of any use. Not to mention Sima Ziwu's name. Sima Ziwu said, "All right, let's stop here for today. I'll take my leave first." Lin Feng and Sheng Wudi stood up and cupped their fists. Sima Ziwu disappeared into thin air. He had probably teleported away. Sheng Wudi said, "Congratulations, Lin Gongzi, for gathering everything you need. It seems like Lin Gongzi's cultivation will increase greatly." "You're too polite. I still have to thank President Sheng for your help. When I come out of seclusion, let's have a gathering. I wonder if President Sheng has time?" Lin Feng said with a smile. Sheng Wudi also wanted to get closer to Lin Feng, so Lin Feng's invitation was exactly what he wanted. Sheng Wudi smiled and said, "All right, then let's drink until we're drunk." Lin Feng then left the Heaven Trading Company. After coming back, Lin Feng didn't immediately enter seclusion. He needed to calm his emotions. The Destiny bloodline originated from his father's bloodline, and it was different from other bloodlines. Only Lin Feng and Lin Feng's father had the Fate bloodline. Therefore, the importance of the Fate bloodline to Lin Feng was unimaginable. After Lin Feng adjusted his emotions, he once again entered the time and space for seclusion. The two abilities that Lin Feng's Destiny bloodline had awakened were, first ability, Destiny Bloodline Awakening. At this time, Lin Feng could use the Destiny bloodline. Moreover, Lin Feng could use the Destiny bloodline in combination with the Great Destiny skill. Its power was extremely terrifying. It was also one of Lin Feng's trump cards. The second ability was the Sword of Fate. It was said to be able to sever all fetters. It was an extremely terrifying ability. What was the third one? Lin Feng was looking forward to it. After Lin Feng took out the Destiny Ice, he began to refine it. Under Lin Feng's refinement, the Destiny Ice turned into the purest energy. The energy was absorbed by Lin Feng's Destiny bloodline. After absorbing the pure energy, Lin Feng felt his Destiny bloodline begin to transform. At the same time, the tribulation light on Lin Feng's forehead grew stronger. This evolution of the destiny bloodline would help him break through to the sky immortal realm. This was killing two birds with one stone. The evolution of the destiny bloodline took the longest time. This was normal. After all, the destiny bloodline. It was too heaven-defying. Although the undying bloodline and the sovereign bloodline were also heaven-defying, the destiny bloodline inherited the destiny of the era. Compared to the undying bloodline and the sovereign bloodline, it was more mysterious. As for Lin Feng's fourth mysterious bloodline, Lin Feng originally thought that the fourth bloodline was about to awaken. However, after such a long time, the fourth bloodline didn't show any changes. During this time, Lin Feng carefully thought about the fourth bloodline. Lin Feng felt that, the fourth bloodline, it was very likely to be similar to the destiny bloodline that his father awakened. It was a heaven-bestowed bloodline. The elders in the family didn't have this bloodline. Lin Feng felt that his fourth bloodline might also be a heaven-bestowed bloodline. However, whether it was or not, Lin Feng wasn't sure. After all, this was only Lin Feng's guess. Perhaps, he would know everything in the future. In the end, Lin Feng's destiny bloodline completed its third evolution. After the evolution of the destiny bloodline, Lin Feng discovered that he had obtained a new ability. This ability was called Destiny Peek. Lin Feng could peek into the future of others. At the same time, he could also create some illusions to directly affect other cultivators. He could make those cultivators immerse themselves in the illusions created by Lin Feng. He could make them think that their future was the destiny set by Lin Feng. This ability was extremely terrifying, especially the ability to peek into the fate of others. It could be described as heaven-defying. However, Lin Feng knew this ability was too terrifying. Once it was used, it was very likely that he would be punished by the heavens. Therefore, if possible, Lin Feng would try his best not to use this ability. Of course, at the current stage, Lin Feng had just obtained this ability. As for how to use this ability, Lin Feng himself wasn't sure. Lin Feng needed to figure it out himself for a period of time. Sogu's reading website. Chapter 53-73. Lin Feng lay on the ground, panting heavily. Although it wasn't a breakthrough, Lin Feng's accumulation was still too great. Therefore, the tribulation this time was extremely terrifying. Lin Feng narrowly escaped death and successfully passed the tribulation. His skin and flesh were lacerated and his bones were broken in many places. Lin Feng tried to circulate the immortal bloodline to recover his body, but he didn't have the magic power to support the circulation of the immortal bloodline. Lin Feng could only lie on the ground to rest. Tired. Really tired. Although tired, Lin Feng was extremely happy because Lin Feng had successfully broken through to the heaven immortal realm. His physical body had also improved. Lin Feng felt that he was almost on par with a cultivator in the second stage of the Saint realm. Of course, this was purely referring to the physical defense. If it was the physical strength, Lin Feng estimated that he could kill a cultivator of this level in seconds. Roar. A deep roar resounded. Lin Feng felt a gust of eerie and terrifying aura. Lin Feng sat up from the ground, and then he saw a ferocious beast walking over step by step from afar. When he saw that ferocious beast, Lin Feng's mouth twitched violently. That ferocious beast was actually the Taodai that Lin Feng saw before. Lin Feng wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He knew how powerful this Taodai was. In fact, even though he had broken through to the heaven immortal realm, there was still a big gap between Lin Feng's strength and this Taoya's strength. Moreover, Lin Feng had just broken through and consumed a lot of energy. He rested for a while. When he finally recovered some of his magic power, this Taodai came in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng really wanted to find a place to cry for a while. The current situation. How could he deal with this terrifying Taodai? Lin Feng didn't think of a way to deal with this Taodai. So, it was better to escape. Lin Feng soared into the sky, dragging his battered body as he fled into the distance. Tao Tai's eyes revealed a mocking gaze as he quickly chased after Lin Feng. Despicable ant, you can't escape. Stop running and I'll eat you. You won't feel any pain. If you try to escape again, I'll bite you to death and eat you alive. You'll even hear me chewing on your organs. Tao Tai sneered. After hearing Tao Ye's words, Lin Feng suddenly became extremely speechless. This guy, that was really evil. Sure enough, it was worthy of being a famous evil beast. Lin Feng naturally couldn't stop. If he stopped, at that time, only death would await them. Lin Feng didn't want to die. He ran away quickly. As he fled, he absorbed the energy within the immortal stones to replenish his magic power. Tao Dai was in hot pursuit from behind. It didn't take long for the sky to darken. When Lin Feng was transcending the tribulation, the terrifying existence in the darkness didn't appear from beginning to end, mainly because those terrifying existences were naturally afraid of the power of thunder, so they didn't dare to approach Lin Feng. But now it was different. Darkness descended. Many terrifying existences began to rush towards Lin Feng, but Tao Dai let out an angry roar. Its voice was full of threat. Those terrifying creatures didn't dare to offend Tao Dai, so they dispersed. Tao Dai continued to chase after Lin Feng. It originally thought that it would be able to catch up with Lin Feng soon. After all, Lin Feng's injuries were so serious. But after chasing for a long time, it still couldn't catch up with Lin Feng. This made Tao Dai mad. The Tao Dai was quite angry, and it kept roaring. Tao Ye's character was easy to be angered. For example, now, under anger, Tao Dai had long forgotten what Lin Feng had said before. Right now, it just wanted to slap Lin Feng to death with its claws. Only in this way could it relieve the hatred in its heart. Although Lin Feng's speed was much faster because of the breakthrough, because of the lack of strength, Tao Dai still caught up with him, said the Tao Dai furiously. It raised its claws and attacked Lin Feng. In the void, a huge energy claw condensed and slapped towards him. Facing the attack of the huge energy claw, Lin Feng's mind couldn't help but tremble slightly. Because he felt the aura of death enveloping him, Lin Feng hurriedly used the heaven patching technique and disappeared. Tao Ye's attack hit the air. Lin Feng appeared 300 meters away and continued to flee into the distance. Tao Dai roared again and quickly chased after him. Then, once again, it locked onto Lin Feng. A claw blasted towards Lin Feng. Because the heaven patching technique had a cooldown of 3 days, Lin Feng couldn't use it now. Tao Ye's terrifying attack sealed the void, and there was no way to avoid it. Fortunately, Lin Feng's Great Death Substitution technique was successfully activated by him. Shua! A light flashed. Lin Feng disappeared again. I'm going to kill you. After seeing Lin Feng appear a few hundred meters away, Tao Dai roared angrily. Lin Feng dodged twice in a row. Tao Dai was really about to die from anger. Lin Feng's situation was actually very bad. The consumption of magic power was too high. Tao Dai didn't take long to chase after him again. Facing Tao Ye's attack, Lin Feng couldn't avoid it. Bang! Lin Feng's body exploded. It turned into a bloody mist. Ha 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 ha, dead, finally dead. I said, you can't escape from my palm. Tao Dai shouted excitedly. But in the next moment, Lin Feng was reborn. This was the terrifying ability of the immortal bloodline. Thank you for that attack just now. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to recover to my peak state in such a short time, Lin Feng said. Seeing Lin Feng recover to his original state, Tao Dai was almost angered to death. Lin Feng didn't pay attention to Tao Dai anymore. He quickly flew into the distance. In fact, Lin Feng was also scared just now. Fortunately, the Nirvana Rebirth ability was activated. Otherwise, he would have died just now. One had to know. The probability of activating the Nirvana Rebirth ability was not very high. So, he was really lucky just now. You can't run away. Tao Dai roared angrily and continued to chase after Lin Feng. Both sides ran and chased, and soon, it was late into the night. In the distance, Lin Feng saw some beasts running towards them quickly. Those beasts looked back from time to time. It was as if something terrifying was chasing after them. Soon, Lin Feng found out what was chasing after those beasts. It was ghost chi. The gloomy and terrifying ghost chi quickly filled the air. Many beasts were swallowed by the ghost chi, and then there was no movement. Not good. It's the netherworld ghost chi. After seeing the rolling ghost chi, Tao Dai couldn't help but cry out in fear. Lin Feng didn't care. He turned and ran. Seeing Tao Dai run away, Lin Feng didn't dare to stay. He also turned and ran. But neither Lin Feng nor the Taodai managed to escape. Lin Feng and Taodai were swallowed by the rolling netherworld ghost Qi one after another. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 5374. When Lin Feng was swallowed by the nether ghost Qi, Lin Feng felt that things had become extremely bad. Lin Feng thought of some of the words that Huangtian Emperor had said back then. In the world where time had turned back, there were some unknown terrors. Those terrors, strong enough to devour everything. Nether ghost Qi. Perhaps it wasn't to such a terrifying extent, but the nether ghost Qi couldn't be underestimated. No one dared to underestimate the nether ghost Qi. It was a dead end. Lin Feng naturally didn't dare to underestimate the nether ghost Qi. After being swallowed by the nether ghost Qi, Lin Feng first activated the Dominator's armor. Then Lin Feng took out the Buddhist treasure Kasaya. Lin Feng put the Buddhist treasure Kasaya on his body. With this treasure and his Dominator's armor, Lin Feng was finally relieved. In the nether ghost Qi, Lin Feng saw terrifying creatures that had turned into skeletons. This shocked Lin Feng. The nether ghost Qi instantly swallowed the flesh and blood of those terrifying existences. Those terrifying existences couldn't even resist. What was so strange about the nether ghost Qi? It was actually so terrifying? Lin Feng couldn't understand. At this moment, Lin Feng suddenly felt it. It seemed that there was an invisible and terrifying force beginning to erode his body. That invisible and terrifying force made Lin Feng feel fear. But fortunately, Lin Feng's Dominator's armor and the Buddhist treasure Kasaya formed a double layer of protection. That terrifying invisible force was blocked outside of his body. Lin Feng's face slightly revealed an expression of relief. Then he tried to see if he could leave the area covered by the nether ghost Qi. Lin Feng rushed outside. But at this moment, Lin Feng felt that there seemed to be the power of law spreading out from the nether ghost Qi. That power of law, towards Lin Feng, it fiercely collided. After feeling that power of law, Lin Feng's face couldn't help but reveal a trace of horror. Because that power of law was really too terrifying. Bang! He was sent flying by the power of the laws. Lin Feng's face paled. At this time, Lin Feng heard the angry roar of Taodai. The Taodai was also struggling, wanting to rush out of the nether ghost Qi, but it was unable to do so. As powerful as it was, he was also sent flying by that powerful law power. The situation was naturally extremely bad for the Taodai. This is going to be troublesome. Lin Feng's expression was extremely gloomy. He had no time to care about Taoya's life or death. Lin Feng only cared about his own situation. His current situation was indeed not good. The netherworld ghost Qi was much more terrifying than Lin Feng had imagined. Once one was enveloped by the netherworld ghost Qi, there seemed to be no possibility of escaping. This was the most frightening part. Bang! 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 The power of the law hit Lin Feng again and again. Lin Feng was sent flying again and again. Lin Feng had no choice but to sit cross-legged and use the Great Destiny technique with all his strength. A Great Destiny light shield formed outside his body. That Great Destiny light shield, it enveloped Lin Feng. When the terrifying attacks came, they were all blocked by the Great Destiny light shield that Lin Feng condensed. But at this time, the ground split open and a huge abyss appeared. Then, the netherworld ghost Qi swept Lin Feng and Taodai, who were still alive, into the abyss. Then, the abyss closed. At the bottom of the abyss, there was a huge underground world. Lin Feng and Taodai were drawn into a mountain in the underground world. Bang! Bang! The tyrannical power threw them heavily to the ground. Lin Feng was quite depressed. Who did he offend? He just came out a breakthrough. It was not easy to break through. First, he met that bastard Taodai. Then, he encountered the netherworld ghost Qi. Now, he was drawn into the underground world. He really wanted to cry, but he couldn't find a place to cry. Lin Feng got up from the ground. Taodai also stood up. Originally, the two of them would not rest until one of them died. But now, they were standing on a united front. Because the netherworld ghost Qi was too terrifying. What exactly is the netherworld ghost Qi? Lin Feng looked at Tao Tai and asked, I don't know. The only thing I know is that almost none of the creatures who encounter the netherworld ghost chi can escape alive, Tao Tai said in a deep voice. After hearing Tao Ye's words, Lin Feng's expression became gloomier. The situation. It was really super dangerous. The netherworld represents death. When the netherworld appears, everything will turn into nothingness, and life will also reach its end. A voice came from the depths. Then, a man in a black robe walked out step by step. Who are you? Lin Feng asked in a deep voice. I am the supreme existence here, the black-robed man said. Lin Feng couldn't see what this guy looked like. He could only see a pair of eyes. It was a pair of incomparably evil eyes. They emitted a cold and terrifying gaze. After seeing that pair of eyes, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. You're not. You're just a servant of the netherworld ghost chi. At this time, Tao Tai said, What? He's just a servant of the netherworld ghost chi? Lin Feng said in disbelief. Tao Ye's words were really too shocking, because Lin Feng could sense how terrifying that black-robed cultivator was. Originally, when he saw this guy walk out wearing a black robe, Lin Feng thought that he was a cultivator of the era's black-robed clan. But after sensing carefully, he realized that he was not a cultivator of the black-robed clan. Actually, a cultivator wearing a black robe was not necessarily a black-robed clan cultivator. However, a black-robed clan cultivator would definitely wear a black robe. This was the black-robed clan's belief. It was also their clan's rule. In the black-robed clan, only those who betrayed the black-robed clan could not wear a black robe. As expected of the dragon's son Tao Tai. Truly extraordinary. Just as you said, I'm a servant of the netherworld ghost chi, the black-robed cultivator said. Lin Feng said, A servant like you actually dares to say that you're a supreme existence here? Your skin is too thick, isn't it? Don't you feel ashamed? The black-robed cultivator smiled and said, Because I'm strong enough. Is there a problem with me saying that? Hearing this, Lin Feng couldn't help but sneer. Tao Tai said, So, what do you plan to do next? You should have died after being sucked in by the netherworld ghost chi, but you luckily survived. Lord Netherworld Ghost Chi is a magnanimous person, so he decided to give you a chance. Now, as long as you submit to me, I can spare your lives. Otherwise, only death awaits you. The black-robed cultivator said coldly. End of chapter. Chapter 5375. If I kill you, does that mean I can leave? Lin Feng sneered. Maybe, maybe not, but killing me is just a fantasy. If you want to kill me, you might be able to do it in your next life. The black-robed cultivator said indifferently. He was very proud. This was a kind of pride that came from his bones. Even now, he had already become a slave of the nether ghost chi. He still maintained his arrogance. Let's see if I can kill you or not. Tao Tai looked indifferent. It took the lead to pounce on the black-robed cultivator. Tao Tai waved its huge claws and slapped at the black-robed cultivator. Tao Ye's attack was extremely terrifying. This claw seemed to be able to destroy heaven and earth. It was very powerful. It was simply shocking. The black-robed cultivator's eyes revealed a cold smile. It seemed to be disdainful. He used his left hand to meet the attack. Bang! Along with the sound of the violent collision, there was a loud bang. Tao Tai and the black-robed cultivator collided fiercely. When the two sides collided, Tao Ye's terrifying attack was actually blocked by the black-robed cultivator. Then, the black-robed cultivator clenched his right fist. A punch blasted towards Tao Tai. That tyrannical punch directly hit Tao Ye's body. Tao Ye's huge body was instantly sent flying. The black-robed cultivator was really terrifying. He repelled Tao Tai so easily. It was really unexpected. However, at this time, Lin Feng's attack had already reached the black-robed cultivator. Lin Feng held the arrow war spear in his hand and became one with it, stabbing at the black-robed cultivator fiercely. That terrifying attack. It could pierce through the void and instantly arrived in front of the black-robed cultivator. It's done. Lin Feng's eyes couldn't help but light up slightly. He was about to succeed in assassinating the black-robed cultivator. But at this moment, the black-robed cultivator's right hand suddenly appeared in front of him. His fingers gently pinched. A clang was heard. Lin Feng's spear was instantly caught by the black-robed cultivator's hand. Not good. Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. This guy's reaction was too fast. It was so fast that even Lin Feng couldn't help but feel shocked. Bang! The black-robed cultivator sent a palm strike towards Lin Feng. The powerful palm energy slammed into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng felt as if he was struck by lightning. His body flew out like a kite with a broken string. He fell heavily to the ground and rolled 4 or 5 times on the ground before coming to a stop. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. This guy, it was so powerful that it was unimaginable. You must have been an extraordinary person in the past, right? Tao Tai asked with a gloomy expression. Your humble servant is not talented. I am the 7th Netherlord. The black-robed cultivator said. What? Are you the 7th Netherlord? Lin Feng's face couldn't help but reveal an extremely shocked expression. The 7th Netherlord? He was a famous powerhouse during the era of the titled gods. How did he end up like this? He had actually become a slave of the Nether Ghost energy. It was really shocking. Haha, do you think it's unbelievable? Actually, so what if you're the 7th Netherlord? In the world where time has been reversed, there are many things that an individual cultivator can't control or contend against. The stronger you are, the more things you come into contact with. Only then will you realize how insignificant you are. Only then will you realize how ignorant and ridiculous you were in the past. The black-robed cultivator said in a self-deprecating manner. After hearing the black-robed cultivator's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. The black-robed cultivator was a saint stage powerhouse. He actually used the word insignificant to describe himself. This made Lin Feng feel incredulous. Even if there were existences that surpassed the saint stage powerhouses, they couldn't be described as insignificant, right? However, the black-robed cultivator just had to use this word. This explained a lot of things. Lin Feng didn't think that the black-robed cultivator would say anything inappropriate at this time. Perhaps it was indeed, as the black-robed cultivator said, some things were simply impossible to come into contact with without reaching his level. Only after coming into contact with those things would one know how terrifying some things were. The Tao Tai said, your life is just like this, but our lives are still long. I'll let you experience my power. Devouring the heavens, the Tao Tai suddenly roared. Endless darkness descended. The darkness. It was as if it could devour everything. The darkness. It was about to devour the black-robed cultivator. The Tao Tai is good at devouring. It can swallow an entire planet in one gulp. I once fought with a Saint Stage Tao Tai. Even that Saint Stage Tao Tai wasn't a match for me, let alone you, a mere quasi-Saint Stage Tao Tai. The black-robed cultivator sneered. His words were full of disdain for the Tao Tai. In the darkness, the Tao Tai sneered and replied, after you became a slave of the netherworld ghostly chi, your strength plummeted. Do you think I can't sense it? Therefore, you don't have the right to say such things here. The black-robed cultivator said coldly, even if my strength has plummeted, killing you will be like slaughtering a dog. In the darkness, a terrifying wave of energy surged out. Bang! It was accompanied by a sound that sounded like an explosion. The darkness was dispelled. The Tao Ye's body was sent flying. At this moment, there were many bone-deep wounds on the Tao Ye's body. The Tao Ye's injuries seemed to be quite serious. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. When the Tao Tai was sent flying again, Lin Feng's 36 bamboo swords attacked. The black-robed cultivator couldn't help but frown when he saw the 36 bamboo swords. He waved his sleeve. In an instant, a huge light shield appeared around his body. The light shield enveloped his entire body. Clang, clang, clang. Lin Feng's 36 bamboo swords bombarded the energy barrier one after another. They were immediately blocked by the energy barrier. The power of the energy barrier was really strong. Lin Feng was very shocked. 36 bamboo swords. Are these supreme treasures that you forged by imitating the 36 stone swords? The black-robed cultivator said with some surprise. That's right. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as his hands continuously formed seals. At this moment, a shocking scene appeared. The 36 bamboo swords actually quickly flew together and then fused together in an instant. They turned into a huge bamboo sword. The huge bamboo sword slashed towards the defensive light barrier outside the black-robed cultivator. The defensive light barrier was instantly split open. Then, the huge bamboo sword slashed towards the black-robed cultivator. The black-robed cultivator's expression couldn't help but change slightly. It was as if he didn't expect Lin Feng's bamboo sword to be so powerful. He clasped his hands together. Then, the black-robed cultivator caught the bamboo sword with both hands. At the same time, the Taoye's eyes lit up as it quickly pounced towards the black-robed cultivator. End of chapter. Chapter 5376. Taoye's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had already arrived in front of the black-robed cultivator. Because the black-robed cultivator was blocking the attack of Lin Feng's bamboo sword. Therefore, this was a great opportunity to deal with the black-robed cultivator. If he missed this opportunity and wanted to deal with the black-robed cultivator again, it would be very difficult. At that time, it would be very difficult. Tao Dai was naturally very clear about this point. Taoye's claws were surrounded by countless runes. Each rune contained an unimaginably terrifying power. The black-robed cultivator's expression was gloomy. However, the black-robed cultivator was very powerful, so facing Taoye's attack. A cloud of rolling ghost chi appeared on the surface of his body. That ghostly aura protected his body. Taoye's claw slammed into the rolling ghost energy. Tao Tai immediately felt as if his claws had landed on cotton. All the power was instantly neutralized. What a terrifying method. Damn it. When Lin Feng saw this scene, he immediately wailed. His bamboo sword could have a restraining effect on the black-robed cultivator. But his cultivation was not strong enough. Therefore, it was completely impossible to kill the black-robed cultivator with the bamboo sword. The bamboo sword could only restrict the black-robed cultivator for a short period of time. This was the time for Tao Dai to show its power. What Lin Feng did not expect was that when Tao Dai chased after him, it displayed an extremely terrifying battle strength. But against the black-robed cultivator, it was unable to cause any harm to the black-robed cultivator. It really made people want to cry but have no tears. In fact, Lin Feng also knew that he could not blame Tao Dai. The main reason was that the black-robed cultivator was too powerful. So powerful that it made people feel despair. Die. The black-robed cultivator sneered. 2 beams of light shot out from his eyes. The 2 beams of light shot towards Tao Dai. The black-robed cultivator wanted to get rid of Tao Dai first before dealing with Lin Feng. When he felt the aura of the 2 beams of light, Lin Feng could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. The 2 beams of light were like the light of destruction. A light blow. It seemed to be able to destroy the world. So terrifying. It was really shocking. To withstand such a terrifying attack. Think about it. It was enough to make people shudder. He didn't know if Tao Dai could withstand it. Lin Feng prayed that Tao Dai would not be killed. If Tao Dai was killed, things would be even more troublesome. He would also be in more danger. Now, Lin Feng and Tao Dai were on the same front. Ancestral blood combustion. Suddenly, Tao Dai roared angrily. Fighting until now, and even teaming up with Lin Feng, they had been suppressed. For the incomparably arrogant Tao Dai, this was something that was hard to accept. Therefore, the Tao Dai no longer had any misgivings. It actually burned its own ancestral blood. This was a desperate move. The fact that the black-robed cultivator could force the Tao Tai to such an extent was a testament to how terrifying the black-robed cultivator was. One had to know. According to the Taoye's words and the black-robed cultivator's answer, the black-robed cultivator's combat power had fallen drastically. Even though he had fallen so much, he was still so powerful. None of these powerful titled gods from the era of titled gods were easy to deal with. At this moment, Taoye's body burned fiercely. When Taoye's body started to burn, Taoye's battle prowess, it increased tremendously. The current Tao Dai, they couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. Tao Dai raised its claws. The 2 terrifying beams of light swept across Taoye's claws. They were immediately blocked by Taoye's claws. Then, Tao Tai once again pounced toward the black-robed cultivator. This time, Tao Dai used a heaven-defying technique. This was Tao Ye's most powerful technique. This technique was called barrier break. After the black-robed cultivator sensed the terror of Tao Ye's attack, his expression couldn't help but change. More ghost energy surged out of his body. The defensive power of the ghost energy was extremely shocking. It was even more shocking than the defensive power of a powerful divine ability. The ghost energy rolled violently. Tao Ye's attack once again landed on the ghost energy. Tao Ye's attack last time was blocked by the ghost energy, but this time, Tao Ye's attack broke through the ghost energy's obstruction. Because Tao Ye's attack this time was very special. The biggest advantage of barrier break was that it could ignore all defenses. Not only did barrier break ignore the enemy's defense, it was also extremely terrifying. That was, the stronger the opponent's defense was, the more damage barrier break would inflict on them. If one wanted to deal with barrier break, it couldn't be defended. One could use divine abilities to meet it head-on. However, now that the black-robed cultivator was entangled with Lin Feng, he had no choice but to use his defensive technique to neutralize Tao Ye's attack. And his defensive technique was so terrifying. One could imagine. What kind of terrifying damage would Tao Dai suffer? Bang! Along with the sound of a violent collision, there was a loud sound. Tao Ye's attack ruthlessly landed on the black-robed cultivator's body. Although the black-robed cultivator was the 7th Nether Lord, however, the black-robed cultivator was still made of flesh and blood. Even though his body was incomparably strong, however, faced with such a powerful attack from Tao Dai, he still couldn't completely resist it with his body. Therefore, Tao Ye's attack directly shattered half of the black-robed cultivator's body. The black-robed cultivator was severely injured, and his body flew backward. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. He controlled the bamboo sword and slashed toward the black-robed cultivator. The sound of something tearing was suddenly heard. The black-robed cultivator's head was chopped off by Lin Feng's bamboo sword. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel excited. He finally managed to inflict irreparable damage on the black-robed cultivator. Sogu's reading website. Chapter 5377. F***CK. I really didn't look at the almanac when I went out. The Tao Dai couldn't help but curse in a low voice. It was obvious that the Tao Dai was very depressed. However, Lin Feng and the Tao Dai had no choice but to face the situation in front of them. They didn't continue forward. Instead, they stopped. This was because the way out had been blocked. Lin Feng and the others didn't attack again. Instead, they looked at the black-robed cultivator with a serious expression. You actually have the ability to come back from the dead. How did you do it? The Tao Dai couldn't help but ask doubtfully. The black-robed cultivator's face had always been gloomy, mainly because he had been killed by Lin Feng and the Tao Dai once before. Although he had come back from the dead. But so what? Even if he came back from the dead, this shame still filled his heart. This shame made the black-robed cultivator wish that he could immediately cut Lin Feng and the Tao Dai into 1,000 pieces. It was because of a few reasons. The black-robed cultivator didn't immediately deal with Lin Feng and the Tao Dai. He said with an indifferent expression, "As long as the netherworld ghost chi still exists in this world, I am an immortal and indestructible existence." Lin Feng said, "It seems that you're not as simple as a servant of the netherworld ghost chi. If you were just a servant of the netherworld ghost chi, you wouldn't have been able to come back from the dead. Therefore, I guess that you must have sold your soul to the netherworld ghost chi. Otherwise, you wouldn't have grasped such a terrifying method." Hee. I have to say, you're really smart. You were even able to guess that much. The black-robed cultivator sneered, said Lin Feng. It's not that hard to guess, said Lin Feng. The black-robed cultivator said, My master has given me a new order. Seeing that your methods are extraordinary, you already have the qualifications to become my master's servants. If you kneel on the ground and swear allegiance to my master, I can spare your lives. In the past, the black-robed cultivator had asked Lin Feng and the Tao Dai to swear allegiance to him. At that time, in the eyes of the netherworld ghost chi, Lin Feng and Tao Dai did not seem to have the qualifications to become its servants. That was until Lin Feng and Tao Dai joined forces to kill the black-robed cultivator. Only then did Lin Feng and Tout Ai obtain the approval of the Netherworld's ghost energy. Hence, the Netherworld ghost energy wanted to take Lin Feng and Tout Ai as slaves. That was also the reason why the black-robed cultivator did not attack. If it weren't for the fact that the Netherworld ghost Qi had taken Lin Feng and Tout Ai as servants, he wouldn't have been able to escape. The black-robed cultivator had long since begun attacking Lin Feng and Tout Ai. Lin Feng could not help but reveal a cold smile. That nether ghost Qi was too full of itself. Lin Feng didn't know what the Netherworld ghost Qi was, but he wanted it to recognize him as its master. This was completely impossible. Let the Netherworld ghostly Qi out. I want to see what the true body of the Netherworld ghostly Qi is. Tout Ai said in a deep voice. Tout Ye's temperament was violent, so he naturally would not agree to recognize the Netherworld ghost Qi as his master. It would rather die in battle. He would not give in. Impudent. After hearing Tout Ye's words, the black-robed cultivator immediately scolded coldly. How dare you speak disrespectfully to the great Lord Netherworld ghost energy? I think you're simply courting death. The black-robed cultivator said with an indifferent expression. To think that the seventh Nether Lord of the past had become such a loyal and devoted dog slave. Lin Feng suddenly felt a sense of sorrow. He was so powerful in the past. He actually ended up like this. It really made people sigh incomparably. Nether Lord, why are you so angry? Don't be angry because of some words. At this moment, a voice suddenly resounded between heaven and earth. This was the voice of a woman. However, it didn't sound like a young woman. She should be very old. Amidst the rolling ghost Qi, an extremely ugly woman wearing a huge robe walked out. After this woman came out, the black-robed cultivator hurriedly bowed to this woman. Greetings, master. The black-robed cultivator was extremely respectful to this woman. He even bowed at a 90-degree angle. Get up. The woman said. You're the spirit manifested by the Netherworld ghost energy? Tout Ai asked.
Yes.
The woman said. That's not right. Why do I feel like you're not a manifested spirit? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. The woman raised her eyebrows. She looked at Lin Feng and said, You're right. Actually, I'm neither a spirit nor a ghost. I've long broken away from my ordinary form. I can transform into Netherworld ghost energy at any time, and I can also transform into a body of flesh and blood at any time. The woman said, In that case, you've already completed an alternative rebirth. Tout Ai said with a solemn expression. Lin Feng's expression also became extremely solemn. This was because this existence was really too terrifying. She had completed an alternative rebirth and mastered an ability that was close to immortality. This existence was definitely one of the most terrifying unknown existences in the time reversal world. I've indeed completed an alternative rebirth. Now, I'm constantly strengthening myself. The woman smiled. However, her smile sounded a little eerie and terrifying. She continued, I think the two of you are not bad. I'll give you an eternal chance to become my servants, just like the seventh Nether Lord. This is a great honor for both of you. Lin Feng couldn't help but sneer. He didn't know where this woman's confidence came from. She actually dared to say such a thing. What a joke. The woman looked at Lin Feng and said, You're sneering. What are you sneering at? Don't you agree with what I've just said? Lin Feng said, If I'm not mistaken, you're probably a Yin ghost who cultivated your Tao. Then, you transformed into Netherworld ghost energy and pretended to be mysterious. You can't be considered as the super heaven-defying unknown danger in the time reversal world. The super heaven-defying unknown danger that Lin Feng was talking about was the danger that Huang Tiandi had mentioned. Even the most powerful cultivator would undoubtedly die if they encountered such a danger. The phrase pretended to be mysterious doesn't apply to me. I'm indeed a Yin ghost who cultivated my Tao. However, my body was combined with Netherworld ghost energy, which was why I completed the transformation. Therefore, I can transform into Netherworld ghost energy. My existence is basically in the form of Netherworld ghost energy, so how can you say that I'm pretended to be mysterious? The woman said with an indifferent expression. The Tout Ai said, No matter what kind of existence you are, we definitely won't surrender today. We'd rather die in battle than acknowledge you as our master. What about you? The woman looked at Lin Feng. I choose to fight as well. Lin Feng clenched his teeth. Bang, bang. As soon as he finished speaking, the woman made her move. With a wave of her sleeve, Lin Feng and the Taotai were sent flying as if they were struck by lightning. They almost spat out mouthfuls of blood. Chapter 5378. Damn, she's too strong, isn't she? Lin Feng immediately wailed. That woman was too terrifying. She was so terrifying that he couldn't fight against her. If Lin Feng and the Taotai were to fight against the 7th Netherlord, they could still join forces and fight against him. However, they had no chance against this woman. An ant fighting against a dragon. Perhaps it was referring to the current situation. Lin Feng naturally didn't want to belittle himself, but he was aware of his own strength. In fact, with Lin Feng's strength, he would definitely be a top powerhouse if he returned to the Undying Realm. However, this wasn't the Undying Realm. This was a world where time had reversed. After Lin Feng came to the world where time had reversed, he had encountered many fortuitous encounters. His cultivation base had improved by leaps and bounds, but Lin Feng had also fully experienced how dangerous the world was. Some unknown and terrifying existences were enough to make people despair, such as this old and ugly woman. She was too strong. It was impossible to guess what her peak combat strength was. Lowly ants, I gave you a chance, but you didn't know how to cherish it. Since that's the case, I don't mind killing you. The woman sneered. She raised her right hand and imprisoned Lin Feng and Taotai. She seemed to want to kill them. Lin Feng's expression was extremely gloomy. He decided to ask the Demon Lord for help. Perhaps he could join forces with the Demon Lord. Perhaps they could escape. However, at this moment, a strange laughter suddenly rang out. Nether Ghoul Elder, you're in such a good mood to personally deal with 2 juniors like this. So that woman was called Nether Ghoul Elder. When the voice rang out, Nether Ghoul Elder couldn't help but frown slightly. She stopped what she was doing and looked ahead instead. Obviously, the newcomer must have made Nether Ghoul Elder extremely afraid. Otherwise, there was no need for her to stop. Lin Feng looked over. He saw a fat Taoist flying over. That Taoist Pang was so fat that he looked like a ball. He was wearing a loose Taoist robe. It was about to burst from the fat on his body. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. This person didn't seem like a Taoist priest. He looked more like a butcher. Gluttonous Taoist, what are you doing here? The netherworld ghostly lady looked at the fat Taoist with fear in her eyes. Lin Feng muttered again. This fat Taoist was actually called Gluttonous Taoist. That was the name. It really complemented his figure well. Of course I have something to discuss with you, but let's talk about it after you've dealt with the matter at hand, said Lin Feng. The fat Taoist said with a smile. When this guy laughed, his eyes were about to disappear. All right, I'll eat these 2 guys first, then we can talk about business, the Netherworld Ghost Elder said. As soon as he finished speaking, he was about to attack Lin Feng and the Taotai. Lin Feng looked at the fat Taoist and shouted, Taoist, save me! F***CK, I have nothing to do with you. Why should I save you? The fat Taoist said speechlessly. Said Lin Feng. We're all human cultivators. Help me please, said Lin Feng. We're all human cultivators. Please help me. The Netherworld Ghost Elder laughed strangely and said, Gluttonous Taoist is from the evil path. Do you think he'll save you just because you're both human cultivators? That's simply wishful thinking. Evil path. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. He really hadn't thought of this. If it was a decent Taoist priest, perhaps he would have saved him, but Gluttonous Taoist was from the evil path. Could it be that he was counting on an evil path to save his life? That was simply a fool's dream. It was too unrealistic. However, Lin Feng suddenly had an idea. Wasn't this guy called Gluttonous Taoist? Could he tempt him with some delicious food? Lin Feng shouted, Taoist priest, this junior is good at cooking many delicious dishes, such as crystal pork knuckle, braised lion's head, Buddha jumps over the wall, 100 birds worshipping the phoenix, and so on. In addition to these delicious dishes, this junior is also very good at cooking all kinds of special barbecue. The taste can be said to be the best in the world. Are you serious? After hearing Lin Feng's words, Gluttonous Taoist's eyes immediately lit up. Of course it's true. When the time comes, this junior will cook for you. Lin Feng said. Good, good, good. This Taoist priest loves to eat all kinds of delicious food, especially barbecue. Good wine and barbecue are definitely a perfect match. Gluttonous Taoist's saliva almost flowed out. Then, Gluttonous Taoist looked at the Netherworld Ghost Elder and said, Netherworld Ghost Elder, you can't touch this kid. The Netherworld Ghost Elder's expression was somewhat ugly. The duck in her mouth flew away. Of course, she was depressed. However, Gluttonous Taoist was too terrifying. Even the powerful Netherworld Ghost Elder didn't want to offend him. Therefore, the Netherworld Ghost Elder chose to compromise. She said, All right, I'll give you face and spare this kid's life. Then, the Netherworld Ghost Elder pounced towards Tao Tai. Lin Feng said, Taoist priest, Tao Tai is Tao Ye's companion. Tao Tai is my companion. Taoist priest, can you save Tao Tai as well? Gluttonous Taoist said, F***CK. How can I have so much free time to save people? I'm from the evil path, not a holy monk. Lin Feng said, Tao Tai is good at brewing wine. It's definitely a top-grade wine. Tao Tai was stunned. How could it know how to brew wine? Of course, Tao Tai knew that Lin Feng said those words to save it. Tao Tai really didn't expect that Lin Feng would actually help it, although it had fought side by side with Lin Feng before. But then again, it had chased Lin Feng for a long time. This guy actually didn't hold a grudge. Tao Tai couldn't help but mutter. Was there really such a noble person in this world? Actually, Lin Feng wasn't noble at all. Lin Feng had been chased by Tao Tai before, and he was incomparably angry. He couldn't wait to get rid of Tao Tai. However, Lin Feng thought about it carefully. He hadn't been in the time reversal world for long, so he wasn't very familiar with it. He also didn't have any experts around him. If he could use this opportunity to subdue Tao Tai, it would be a great help to him. People couldn't just think about revenge. They also had to think about how to proceed in life. Moreover, there were no eternal enemies in this world. Life and death enemies. They could also become friends. For example, weren't Lin Feng and Gongzi you like this? Let it go. Let this Tao Tai go. Gluttonous Taoist said. Hearing that Gluttonous Taoist wanted her to let Tao Tai go, Netherworld Ghost Elder was very unwilling. Naturally, the Nether Ghost Elder was extremely unwilling. Her expression became extremely unsightly. Gluttonous Taoist, don't go too far, she said in a deep voice. Gluttonous Taoist said, I told you to let it go, so let it go. Why are you spouting so much nonsense? Gluttonous Taoist was really domineering. The Netherworld Ghoul was so powerful, but Gluttonous Taoist was still so overbearing in front of her. It could be seen how terrifying Gluttonous Taoist was. Sogu's website. Chapter 5379. The Netherworld Ghost Elder's eyebrows twitched violently. She was quite angry, and the killing intent in her heart soared. However, when she thought of how terrifying Gluttony Taoist was, she really did not dare to fall out with him. Gluttony Taoist was very hateful, and many people had a strong opinion of him. However, no one could do anything to him. Endure for a while and calm down. Now, she could only comfort herself like this. All right, I'll give you some face. The Netherworld Ghost Elder said. Tao Tai could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Lin Feng walked towards Gluttony Taoist, and so did Tao Tai. They arrived behind Gluttony Taoist. Brat, you promised good wine and food. If the food and wine are not good, I will make you die miserably. Gluttony Taoist said fiercely. He was evil. Killing people was a very rare and ordinary thing for him. His threat to Lin Feng was not just a simple threat. At the same time, it contained a strong killing intent. As long as he was not satisfied, he would really attack. Lin Feng was not surprised at all. When the time comes, I guarantee that you will want to eat it a second time. Lin Feng said. Tao Tai said, when the time comes, I guarantee that you will want to drink it a second time. In fact, Tao Tai was about to cry. It knew nothing about the art of brewing wine. When the time came, it did not know how to get away with it. Perhaps, could it ask Lin Feng for help? Tao Tai felt that Lin Feng was not a bad person. That's good. Gluttony Taoist grinned. Then, he looked at the Netherworld Ghost Elder. Gluttony Taoist said, Netherworld Ghost Elder, I heard that you obtained a profound God crystal. Is my information accurate? Profound God crystal? What the hell is this? Lin Feng could not help but feel apprehensive. This was the first time he had heard of such a thing. However, a terrifying existence like Gluttony Taoist had come personally for something like the profound God crystal. This showed how precious it was. It was definitely enough to make people go crazy. Lin Feng originally wanted to communicate with the Demon Lord and ask if the Demon Lord knew what the profound divine crystal was. However, Lin Feng discovered that the Demon Lord had cut off the connection with him. Previously, Lin Feng could still sense the Demon Lord's aura. The Demon Lord must have severed the connection with him after Gluttony Taoist arrived. It seemed that the Demon Lord must be very afraid of the gluttonous Taoist. In order to avoid exposing himself, he might as well go into hiding. Suddenly, the Netherworld Ghost Elder asked, Where did you hear that I obtained a profound divine crystal? The gluttonous Taoist said, I have my ways, so you don't need to ask around. Right now, I need some profound divine crystals, so I hope you can give them to me. Of course, I won't mistreat you, and I'll give you some other things as compensation. The Netherworld Ghost Elder said, Your information is wrong. I didn't obtain any profound divine crystals. Taoist Gluttony sneered when he heard her words. Do you think I will believe your words? The Netherworld Ghost Elder said, It doesn't matter if you believe me or not, but I'm telling the truth. Don't be misled by others. I think that the person who told you this false information has ulterior motives. The gluttonous Taoist said, You don't have to worry about that. The person who told me this information is someone I trust completely. The Netherworld Ghost Elder frowned slightly. It was obvious that the gluttonous Taoist would not give up on the profound divine crystals just because of a few words from her. The Netherworld Ghost Elder said, So, what do you plan to do? The gluttonous Taoist said, That depends on what you choose. If you cooperate with me honestly, we can make money peacefully. If you don't, then I'll have to take action. The Netherworld Ghost Elder sneered, Gluttonous Taoist, I didn't compromise with you because I was afraid of you. I just didn't want to provoke a powerful enemy for no reason. If you think that I, the Netherworld Ghost Elder, am easy to bully, then you're gravely mistaken. Hee, I heard that you have an undying and indestructible ability, and you also know many long-lost top-notch divine abilities from the Netherworld. It just so happens that I want to see what you're capable of. The gluttonous Taoist stepped forward. In an instant, the gluttonous Taoist's aura changed greatly. Before, the gluttonous Taoist was as fat as a ball, and he looked somewhat comical. But now, the gluttonous Taoist seemed to have become the ruler of the world in the blink of an eye. Lin Feng was shocked when he sensed the terrifying aura emanating from the gluttonous Taoist's body. This was because he felt that the gluttonous Taoist's aura was even more terrifying than the Huangtian Emperor. The Huangtian Emperor. He was the ruler of the Forbidden Zone. If the gluttonous Taoist was stronger than the Huangtian Emperor, then it would be too shocking. However, the gluttonous Taoist was indeed very powerful. An 8 trigrams diagram flew out from the gluttonous Taoist's body. The 8 trigrams diagram was formed by a divine ability, and the 8 trigrams diagram quickly suppressed the Netherworld Ghostly Elder. Humph! The Netherworld Ghostly Elder snorted coldly, and an endless amount of Netherworld Ghostly Chi surged out, directly attacking the 8 trigrams diagram of the gluttonous Taoist. Bang! The sound of a violent collision was heard. The void almost collapsed. The collision between the Netherworld Ghostly Chi and the 8 trigrams diagram was too shocking. Lin Feng felt that if the gluttonous Taoist and the Netherworld Ghostly Elder weren't trying their best to control their power, the world would have collapsed. The world was about to collapse. And this collision was evenly matched, and no one could do anything to the other. Interesting. The gluttonous Taoist sneered, and then the 8 trigrams diagram that he took out actually split into 8. Such a technique. It was really amazing. The 8 trigrams diagrams rushed towards the Netherworld Ghostly Elder. At this moment, a terrifying aura surged out from the Netherworld Ghostly Chi. Then, a demon god with 4 heads and 8 arms appeared. The demon god with 4 heads and 8 arms directly stretched out his palm. He slapped towards the 8 trigrams diagrams. Bang, 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 bang. 8 consecutive dull sounds of collision were heard. The 8 trigrams diagrams were all sent flying by the demon god. The Netherworld Ghostly Elder's technique was indeed tyrannical, and it was terrifying. The demon god quickly charged towards the gluttonous Taoist. He wanted to use this opportunity to defeat the gluttonous Taoist. The gluttonous Taoist's face couldn't help but reveal a mocking expression. The 8 trigrams diagrams that the gluttonous Taoist had sent flying flew towards the demon god again. Moreover, what was shocking was that the 8 trigrams diagrams instantly split into 64 8 trigrams diagrams. The 64 8 trigrams diagrams instantly scattered the demon god's soul. Then, the 64 8 trigrams diagrams rushed towards the Netherworld Ghostly Elder. End of chapter. Chapter 5380. The power of Gluttony Taoist's 64 8 trigrams was not to be underestimated. The Netherworld Ghoul Elder naturally did not dare to underestimate it. In fact, she was quite confident in her methods. She did not expect that her methods would be broken by Gluttony Taoist so quickly. Facing the attack of the 64 8 trigrams, the Netherworld Ghoul Elder once again used a powerful divine ability. This divine ability was called the Wisdom King's Immobility Technique. After this divine ability was used, an immovable Wisdom King appeared above the Netherworld Ghoul Elder. That immovable Wisdom King was surrounded by endless mysteries. His body emitted a powerful energy that could shock anyone. Immovable Wisdom King was like a god and a demon. He seemed to be able to control the world. When the 64 8 trigrams came crashing down, huge hands appeared behind the immovable Wisdom King one after another. Each of the huge hands, it was as if they could grab the stars from outer space. Bang, bang, bang. The giant hands collided with the 64 8 trigrams diagrams. Both sides were locked in a fierce battle. Lin Feng took a deep breath. A battle between experts of this level was naturally very shocking. With just a raise of their hands, they had the power to destroy the world. Gluttony Taoist was very powerful, but the Netherworld Ghoul Elder was also very powerful. Ghostly energy shrouding the sky. At this moment, the Netherworld Ghoul Elder's cold voice suddenly sounded. A large amount of ghostly energy. It surged towards Gluttony Taoist. Kill. Suddenly, an endless number of terrifying creatures appeared from the ghostly energy. They were skeleton warriors. Holding a battle sword, their killing intent was monstrous. With a loud roar that seemed to be able to shatter the world, the skeleton warriors all charged towards Gluttony Taoist. The Netherworld Ghoul Elder began to counterattack Gluttony Taoist. For existences at their level, even the simplest attack would contain unimaginable power, let alone an attack that was meticulously condensed. That kind of power. It was absolutely shocking. Lin Feng and Tao Tai kept retreating. This was because the pressure emitted by the attacks of Gluttony Taoist and the Netherworld Ghoul Elder was too strong. Lin Feng and Tao Tai also felt the pressure, so they could not get close. It was safer to stay further away. If they got close, they would be implicated. At that time, they would want to cry but have no tears. At this moment, those skeleton warriors had already arrived in front of Gluttony. Taoist Gluttony called out loudly, "I'll eat, I'll eat, I'll eat." Then, gluttonous Taoist opened his bloody mouth. He took a deep breath. All of the skeleton warriors were swallowed by gluttonous Taoist. Lin Feng couldn't help but be speechless. The Tao Tai could swallow all things. However, Tao Tai wouldn't devour those skeleton warriors condensed from the ghost energy of the Netherworld. However, gluttonous Taoist wasn't like that. Did he really treat those skeleton warriors as food? Therefore, only then did it swallow those skeleton warriors. The corner of Tao Ye's mouth even twitched slightly. It was estimated that Tao Tai, this fellow, had also been struck by lightning, right? At this time, Taoist Gluttony continued to control his 64 8 trigrams to fight the enemy. Since the 64 8 trigrams were unable to break the immovable Wisdom King summoned by the Netherworld Elder Ghost, Taoist Gluttony decided to change his attack strategy. The 64 8 trigrams quickly rotated in the void. Each 8 trigrams combined together to form an 8 trigrams formation. In this way, 8 trigrams formations were formed. Of course, this wasn't the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing was the 8 trigrams formations floating in the void. They actually condensed into a huge 8 trigrams formation. There really was a formation within a formation, and a divination within a divination. After seeing such a miraculous method, Lin Feng's face couldn't help but reveal an incomparably shocked expression. Taoist gluttony's method gave Lin Feng some inspiration, because Lin Feng himself was actually quite good at the 8 trigrams technique. Of course, Lin Feng was best at formations. The combination of 8 trigrams and formations, he would enter a whole new world. The huge 8 trigrams formation in the void began to operate. The 8 trigrams formation suddenly began to rotate in the void. The void was torn apart in an instant. The 8 trigrams formation arrived in front of the immovable Wisdom King. The immovable Wisdom King wanted to block the attack of the 8 trigrams formation, but this time he failed. The power of the huge 8 trigrams formation was too strong, and it instantly destroyed the immovable Wisdom King. Then, the huge 8 trigrams formation attacked the Netherworld Ghost Elder. Bang! The Netherworld Ghost Elder couldn't dodge in time and was sent flying. Taoist Gluttony laughed and said, "Netherworld Ghost Elder, let's see how you block my attack." The huge 8 trigrams formation attacked the Netherworld Ghost Elder again and again. The Netherworld Ghost Elder had suffered a loss before. The Netherworld Ghostly Elder felt extremely depressed after being suppressed so much and suffering losses time and time again. However, the Netherworld Ghost Elder had no other choice. Bang! 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 She was sent flying again and again. The Netherworld Ghost Elder tried to counterattack, but it was destroyed by the 8 trigrams formation before she could successfully form a divine ability. This made the Netherworld Ghost Elder go crazy. She had never suffered such a loss before. Ha 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 ha. Netherworld Ghost Elder, just surrender. Taoist Gluttony laughed, looking very proud. Taoist Gluttony was indeed strong, and he was actually able to suppress a terrifying existence like the Netherworld Ghost Elder. Taoist Gluttony's method was really powerful. Taoist Gluttony, I'll let you have a taste of my Netherworld Magic Pearl. The Netherworld Ghost Elder's expression was gloomy as she took out a black pearl. The pearl was about the size of a fist, and it emitted an extremely violent fluctuation. What? Netherworld Magic Pearl? You have such a thing? Taoist Gluttony's expression changed drastically, and he quickly retreated. It seemed like he was afraid of the Netherworld Magic Pearl. I'm just kidding. You really believed me. She saw Taoist Gluttony retreating. The Netherworld Ghost Elder laughed proudly. Since Taoist Gluttony didn't control the 8 trigrams formation when he retreated, the 8 trigrams formation's power was greatly reduced. The Netherworld Ghost Elder sent the 8 trigrams formation flying. She directly grabbed the Netherworld Lord and teleported through the void, disappearing without a trace. F***CK. She's an immortal. Taoist Gluttony yelled gloomily. Chase. Then, Taoist Gluttony grabbed Lin Feng and Tao Dai and disappeared. After chasing for a long time, they still couldn't catch up with the Netherworld Ghost Elder. They finally stopped on the plains outside. Taoist Gluttony's expression was extremely ugly. The Netherworld Ghost Elder's escape wasn't the biggest reason for Taoist Gluttony's anger. The reason why Taoist Gluttony was so angry was because he was fooled by the Netherworld Ghost Elder. An expert like him was naturally very prideful, and now he was fooled by the Netherworld Ghost Elder. He was extremely furious, and he couldn't wait to cut the Netherworld Ghost Elder into 1,000 pieces. End of chapter. Chapter 5381. Although he was gnashing his teeth in hatred, the Netherworld Ghost Elder had already run away. So, now, it was just wishful thinking to find trouble with the Netherworld Ghost Elder. Gluttonous Taoist sat down on the ground and said, I'm not leaving, I'm hungry. Hurry up and prepare some good food and drinks for me. Of course, no problem, Lin Feng said. He was very confident in his culinary skills. If he couldn't even handle the gluttonous Taoist, then he would have wasted his time. Lin Feng had all sorts of top-grade meat sealed in his time and space. For example, dragon meat, venison, tiger meat, and other meats were all extremely tasty meats. In addition, all sorts of ingredients were also extremely complete. As for the wine, Lin Feng also stored a lot here. When the time came, he would just have to ask Tao Tai to take out the wine and give it to the gluttonous Taoist. "What would you like to eat now, Taoist priest?" Lin Feng asked. "Then let's barbecue." Although barbecue looks simple, it is the most testing of one's skills. The gluttonous Taoist narrowed his eyes and said, "Obviously, this guy was definitely a top-notch glutton." Lin Feng said, "Taoist priest, please wait for a moment. It will be ready soon." "Okay." The gluttonous Taoist nodded and then closed his eyes to rest. Previously, when he fought with the Netherworld Ghost Elder, he had consumed a lot of energy. He could take advantage of this opportunity to recover. Lin Feng began to prepare the meat. Then, he found some dry wood from the time and space and started a bonfire. Normally, barbecuing outside at night was simply courting death. Because of this, who knew how many terrifying creatures would be attracted? But this time was different. Tao Tai was here. Moreover, there was also the unfathomable gluttonous Taoist. If any creature came to cause trouble, it would simply be courting death. It didn't take long for the barbecue to be ready. The barbecue meat was golden in color and emitted an alluring fragrance. Lin Feng handed over the wine that he had prepared beforehand to Tao Tai. They carried the barbecue meat and wine to gluttonous Taoist's side. Gluttonous Taoist opened his eyes. His nose twitched. Then, his eyes suddenly lit up. The smell of barbecue meat. It was simply too fragrant. Although Gluttony Taoist had eaten many delicacies, the aroma of the roast meat alone was enough to attract him. He was definitely one of a kind. Gluttonous Taoist grabbed a piece of barbecued meat and started eating. "Delicious, really delicious," the Taoist excitedly shouted. For a glutton, the happiest thing was to be able to eat a delicious meal. For example, gluttonous Taoist. His mouth was full of oil. He grabbed the wine jar that Tao Tai handed to him. Then, he gulped it down. Good wine, really good wine. After drinking a few mouthfuls of wine, gluttonous Taoist grinned. Good wine to go with roast meat. Gluttonous Taoist was known for this. Everyone had different interests and hobbies. For example, Lin Feng preferred beautiful women. For example, the immeasurable Taoist preferred to dig up the ancient tombs of various cultivators. In fact, it was said that Gluttony Taoist's Taoist name wasn't originally Gluttony Taoist, but it was because Gluttony Taoist loved to eat too much. Therefore, people later called him the gluttonous Taoist. After a long time, the name gluttonous Taoist gradually spread. On the other hand, gluttonous Taoist's original name was no longer known. Gluttonous Taoist really could eat. Lin Feng finished roasting a 100-meter-long tiger. Gluttonous Taoist was full. One had to know. Gluttonous Taoist had drunk hundreds of jars of good wine. Actually, people like Gluttonous Taoist didn't know anything. The wine was given to Tao Tai by Lin Feng. Gluttonous Taoist saw this and didn't say anything. The main reason was that Lin Feng's barbecued meat was to his taste. Therefore, Gluttonous Taoist didn't care about other things. If Lin Feng's barbecued meat wasn't to his taste, Lin Feng guessed, Gluttonous Taoist would have killed him and Tao Tai long ago. The evil path was unreasonable. Not bad, not bad. Kid, you're quite good. What's your name? After Gluttonous Taoist was full, he looked at Lin Feng and asked. I am Lin Feng, said Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, Lin Feng? Okay, I'll remember your name. Gluttonous Taoist said. Lin Feng was very happy. It seemed that he had really profited from a disaster this time. Not only did he not die at the hands of the Netherworld Ghost Lady, but he also had a relationship with Gluttonous Taoist. Although he didn't know what kind of person Gluttonous Taoist was, Lin Feng only needed to know that Gluttonous Taoist was strong enough. In addition, Lin Feng had done Tao Tai a favor this time, so there was a high chance that he could subdue Tao Tai. At that time, he would have an awesome existence by his side. Lin Feng looked at Gluttonous Taoist and said, Taoist priest, Junior still has a lot of cooking skills that I haven't made yet. Why don't you follow Junior back to Yinyang City? At that time, Junior can cook all kinds of delicacies for you, continuously for several months. I guarantee that you'll be satisfied. After hearing Lin Feng's words, gluttonous Taoist's saliva almost flowed out. Facing the temptation of delicious food, gluttonous Taoist really didn't have much resistance. However, in the end, gluttonous Taoist suppressed his restless heart. He said, I still have some important things to take care of, so I can't go back with you right now. However, we still have a long way to go. The next time we meet, we'll definitely eat delicious food for several months. Hearing this, Lin Feng felt that it was a pity that he could use delicious food to bind a terrifying existence like gluttonous Taoist to his side. At that time, it would be awesome. If a Sage Realm expert came to find trouble with him, there would only be one way. Unfortunately, gluttonous Taoist had to leave. Lin Feng said, Junior looks forward to meeting Senior again next time. Okay. Gluttonous Taoist nodded and then teleported through the void, disappearing without a trace. Lin Feng then looked at Tao Dai and asked, What's your name? Tao Dai was so strong that he had to have a name. That was why Lin Feng had asked him that question. Tao Dai said, My name is Wan Shirtan. Lin Feng said, Your name is awesome. You actually dare to call yourself Shirtian. Aren't you afraid of being devoured by the heavenly Tao? The reason why Lin Feng said that was because he was very particular about names. For example, if an extremely heaven-defying figure appeared in history, such as a heaven-defying figure called Dugu Chubai, later generations couldn't casually give such a name. This was because it was very likely that they would suffer a calamity. One couldn't have the same name as a great figure, but there was another very important point. Names couldn't be too big, such as Shirtian, Sky-Splitting, Sky-Matching, Sky-Breaking, or names with dragons in them. They weren't good names. It was best to give a name that was too small. For example, many people had nicknames like Gooden or Area, which were easier to raise. End of chapter. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.